Bell, my special guest. He's trying to break into Nextel Cup Racing. You're going to hear a lot from him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did. Good job.
Okay.
You ready?
Now, there's three important things here at Martinsville I want to try to teach you.
Okay.
All right. One is, when you're going down into the corner, you want to make sure that you hit the brakes. A lot of guys don't do that. They cause a lot of problems. Another thing you want to do here at Martinsville, which I think is real important, you want to get really, really, really close to the wall. And it really doesn't make the car go that fast, but the girls love it.
Yeah, this looks cool.
I would say the most important thing in Martinsville, before you leave, make sure you go to the concession stand and get a couple of hot dogs.
Oh, yeah, I've already had 5.
See Gordon sitting up there?
I thought that was him. I didn't want to say anything.
Did you learn anything on this deal? I tried to give you a couple of pointers.
Yeah, I did. I learned you get close to the wall, but not too close. Stay off the curbs. Don't lock the front brakes up getting in the corner. Get off the corner straight. You should be good.
Most important thing.
What's that?
Don't forget to get your hot dogs at the concession stand.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already good there.
Thanks for coming, man, and
You
good
got
luck.
it. Thanks for giving me a ride. I thought you said I got the drive.
Probably would have been a faster lap. How was that?
It was good. I really think he paid attention. I think he learned a few things.
You got some chili from that hot dog on your tie, by the way. Junior and the 42 others beginning to roll off of pit road here at Martinsville. We talked about how challenging pit road can be here at Martinsville. A lot of stories down there today. Let's get started with Dave Burns.
And Jeff Burton might have wanted Wally in his car for his qualifying lap this weekend. 28 starting position is the worst that Jeff has done on a short track this season. So 2 things he has to keep in mind. First of all, stay on the lead lap. When Jeff takes the green, our championship leader, the leader of the race is already going to be screaming down the backstretch. So he's got to definitely stay on the lead lap early on. And then keep the fenders on the race car. Jeff's got to make his way up through the field. He's going to have some contact. He just has to make sure he doesn't hurt his car too much going to the front. Matt?
And Dave, Jimmy Johnson is 9th in the racetrack, 7th in the championship standings. Now, Wally and BP documented very well just how tough and treacherous this pit road is. Now, Chad Canals, he chose to stall right off of turn 4, right around the bend. The issue is it does have a slight elevation change, so you are pitting a little bit of an elevation angle. He does have about a 7-foot cushion between his pit stall and the one of the 43 team, Bobby Labonte. They feel like even though they're 146 points out, they still have a shot at this championship. A lot of great tracks coming up, and they have their mojo back after finishing 2nd last week, and they're pitting in the same pit stall that he won from 2 years ago. Marty Snyder?
Matt Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his team used a little change of strategy on Friday afternoon, choosing for the first time this year to concentrate solely on qualifying for one reason. They wanted a good pit stall. They used their teammate, Martin Truex Jr., to have him work on race setup. Did it work? Well, Jr. qualified 7th, and he got the 3rd pit stall on pit road, only 140 feet from the end of Junior's pit stall to the end of pit road. That will be key this afternoon. Alan?
Want to pick a favorite to win the race today? Jeff Gordon would be a good bet. He starts on the front row. He's won here at Martinsville 7 times. After trouble in the last 3 straight races, Gordon is 10th in the championship. He says a title this year is unlikely. He's here to win. I wouldn't bet against that. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. I wouldn't either. Have a good day down there. Go online to NBCSports.com. And you can get the pit map. It's in the NASCAR section at NBCSports.com. And Benny, I was at NBCSports.com last night getting some information for today's race. And I must say, there's a very nice article you wrote there about the treatments you've gone through for your lung cancer and the support you got from the NASCAR community and the inspiration you got from fans that you've really never met.
Never met before. Thousands of them, emailed, cards, letters. And I think the story it turned out very well. So if you want to find out about how I've been fighting this lung cancer, NBCSports.com.
And maybe the best piece of advice there, BP, was the last line in that article.
If you don't feel well, go see a doctor. I mean, early detection in anything is the key.
All right, and that's what you did, right?
That's what I did.
Okay.
What if you're psychotic like Weber? Is there any symptoms for that?
See,
no help for you.
No sensitivity, is there? That's all at NBCSports.com. I'll tell you, we were outside for the Bank of America Countdown to Green, and it might say it's 53, but it feels a lot colder, doesn't it?
It feels like it's about 33. It is cold out there.
But that's good for the drivers.
Oh, yes.
That's good for the drivers because they won't feel that heat coming up through those floorboards, and also for the brakes. You don't normally have too many brake issues when it's a nice, cool day like this because it makes a big difference. keeps everything cold.
Field has just gotten the one to go. We'll get the green flag next time by. Here are the Chevy drivers to watch and their best Martinsville finish. Obviously, Gordon with the 7 wins here. Jimmie Johnson has run strong here. Earnhardt has never won here, and Kevin Harvick really hasn't had many good runs here. His best finish 7th. Our Chevy drivers to watch here at the Martinsville Speedway.
Yesterday in practice, Jimmie Johnson, that 48 car, was very, very fast, and they were extremely happy with their car.
I think that 20 car looked pretty good too, BP. I watched him down in the corners, and that thing probably was one of the most consistent cars that I saw out there in practice.
We'll see how it all unfolds. 500 laps on this tight half-mile track. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon on the front row. Green flag going in the air for the Subway 500 on NBC.
Gordon's going to lead that first one.
Really wanted it, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And Denny Hamlin thought about maybe 3 wide at Martinsville and then backed out of it.
24 car, Gordon slipped up a little bit in the center of the corner there. He just didn't feel clear enough to get down to the bottom, and boy, he wants to the bottom.
But he wanted those 5 points. He got them. He really, right now, if Kurt Busch gets by him, he's not going to be as concerned.
I don't know, BP. I don't think you want to. This is like Talladega right now. You are going to get left out and to dry here if these guys start passing them on the inside. Unless there's a break, you can't get in line.
That's right. You could go back to about 20th before you get in line.
Easily.
Oh, trouble.
Couple of cars around early.
Oh,
Sterling Marlin,
man.
Kyle Petty, who had the good qualifying run.
Truex got hit somebody pretty hard. He's got some radiator damage there.
Happened right in front of championship leader Jeff Burton. First caution of the day.
I've been watching Jeff Burton going by on the outs, trying to pass these cars on the outside. We'll see that Kyle Petty just gets on the outside and loses control. And now we see what happened to Truex. He ran the back of 41, Reed Sorensen.
On board with the championship leader. You have to be so cautious here because of the accordion effect. He got Nemechek working his way through the first caution. NBC Sports live at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Race 6 in the 10-race chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. There you see the drivers involved in our first caution. Martin Truex has already gone back to the garage. Let's get an update from Dave Burns.
And Bill, the 31 championship leader Jeff Burton got into the back of Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. Very slight damage, and crew chief Scott Miller reasoned with Jeff that because it's such a cool day, slight damage will not be a problem for us. If they had a very hot day, they'd worry about the cooling of that car. Right now, they're not too worried about it. They're talking about the radiator at this point, not the brakes. Marty?
Dave, oddly enough, same problem for Martin Truex Jr., although he was involved in that last accident. They did punch out the radiator. They're going to fix that and replace the radiator. Martin is still in the car with the window net up. This team spent most of their weekend trying to help out their teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're going to be out of it early, and maybe they can help him a little bit on the racetrack, but it's going to be a while before they do get back out there, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. Field getting the 1-to-go signal here at Martinsville. Take a look at our AutoZone in the zone drivers here at Martinsville. Tony Stewart has really run well here in recent years after struggling when he first started coming to Martinsville.
He has led about 500 laps, hasn't he, in the last 3 races?
He's led the most laps the last 3 races here. That's a total of 818.
818 laps.
Of 1,500 laps.
Wow.
Our AutoZone in the zone drivers. And there's Tony. It's Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, and Stewart is in 5th. Then Blaney, Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Green, Jimmie Johnson, and Ken Schrader, the top 10. Casey Kane back in 25th, Mark Martin in 21st. Try it again, single file.
Jeff Burton is lucky. cool day, because it looked like to me the grill was kind of laid down flat, and he was not going to get as much air in that car as he normally would get.
Yeah, there it is laid down just a little bit, BP, but you're right. I think this cool weather is going to be very beneficial to these guys today, especially when they keep running into each other.
Burton back in 20th, on board with Joe Nemechek.
And that's the thing, you know, where Jeff is and some of these guys behind him. I mean, when they took the green flag, there were cars still in turn 2. So Jeff realizes that he's got to try to pick up as many of these cars as possible while he can, because those leaders are going to be catching that tail end of the field here pretty quick.
Marty?
And guys, to add to that, Joe Nemechek also has a problem with, he made some contact early on with the radiator. So the water right now about 230, 240 for the 01 car. A little bit concerned with that. They were involved in that last little skirmish.
There's Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. Kyle Busch in the 5. Brian Vickers in the 25. Alan, it has not been a fun weekend for that 17 bunch.
And this has not been a fun racetrack for Matt Kenseth over the last, well, over his career, really, Bill. And it's a concern this morning. I talked to crew chief Robbie Reiser. They've had brake problems all season long that have cropped up from time to time. They went through some short tracks, did some testing, because brake problems here in Martinsville will get you in a bad way. Robbie said, I hope it's better, but I'm not overly confident.
He had a hard crash here in the spring race at Martinsville, Kenseth did.
Go down in turn 1, the brakes failed or something, and nail the wall hard.
Kyle Busch working inside of Kenseth. Matt really struggling. Let's get an update on the 5 from Matt.
And you were talking to the 5 team this morning, and Alan Gustafson was very confident about close call there with the 17. Gustafson was very confident about their run today. They just felt like they needed to keep the brakes on the race car. That's what he told Kyle on the pace laps. Just pace yourself today, much like you did in Saturday's Truck Series race, where he finished 6th. Battle for 2nd, a little farther up the grid. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. Denny Hamlin trying to work inside of Kurt Busch.
Is this 11 car Denny Hamlin, is he impressive or what? This is his 3rd trip to Martinsville, and here he is taking over the 2nd position. Alan, this boy is going somewhere.
Yeah, he's hoping to go to Victory Lane, BP, because this is one of his home state Virginia tracks. And this is a track that, of all the tracks on the Nextel Cup circuit, Denny Hamlin has the most laps on. They run a big late model stock car race here a couple times a year. Denny's been in that many times before he moved up. He said, I feel more comfortable here than anywhere. Marty?
Alan, speaking of people hungry for a win, Kurt Busch hasn't experienced that since Bristol back in March. The 2 team is operating this weekend without their normal crew chief, Roy McCauley, serving a 2-race suspension for a rules infraction at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. And unfortunately, this is Roy's favorite racetrack. Matt Gimbel making the calls today for Kurt Busch.
And Marty, it is Roy's favorite track, but it's not necessarily Kurt's, is it?
You know, not really. But Kurt is an excellent short track racer, and I think that makes up for a lot of it. He has won here in the past, and the race he won, he started 36 and won this thing today. Obviously a little bit better starting on the pole.
Yeah, the deepest anyone has ever started at Martinsville and gone on to Victory Lane, Kurt Busch. Jeff Burton still riding around behind that 0-1 of Joe Nemechek.
Well, I don't think he's been planning it that way. I mean, he's been looking high, looking low. He just can't seem to get past that 01. Joe's not making any mistakes right now.
Well, he's got 470 plus laps to try and get to the front, but it's a long battle from deep in the field. Jeff Gordon leads at Martinsville. Sony, the official high-definition television of NASCAR on NBC, takes your NASCAR experience to another level with Sony Full HD 1080, the world's most powerful HD experience. "31 laps are complete, and Jeff Gordon is strong and fast early."
I tell you what, he is really going someplace in that 24 car, and it's kind of surprising to me, Bill, because you and I talked to Steve Letarte, the crew chief on this automobile, and they have come to Martinsville this time with a completely different chassis setup than they ever have before. The car that has won 6 Martinsville races is on the truck, and they're using this vehicle.
lapping Kevin LePage, and they're doing that for a reason.
Trying to get ready for 2007. At this race next year, they will have to use the car of tomorrow, the new car that NASCAR is coming with, and the chassis set up on this 24 is something they feel like they're going to have to use on the car of tomorrow.
And they basically tried this at the second New Hampshire race.
And it worked very well there.
And then they went to South Carolina and ran, what, 300 laps, did he say, down there?
Yes.
And how's it working so far today?
Alan, it's working pretty good, isn't it?
I'd say the guy that's leading the race is working pretty well. Yeah. No complaints out of Jeff on the car yet. He called in his oil temperature, his water temperature just a little while ago. Gordon right now feeling a rhythm at this racetrack that he found in a test session here early in his career. He said he figured out something about driving technique at this racetrack that really has allowed him to succeed here. 7 wins and working on number 8 right now. I guess he succeeded pretty well, Dave.
The guy who would like to win today is Jeff Burton to keep his championship lead going. He knows Martinsville can be a dangerous place. He's already got caught up in the first yellow. But you have to keep your cool, according to Jeff, when you're here.
Well, I think the biggest thing that happens here is stuff happens so fast. And you know, you're sitting there minding your own business. Somebody checks up in front of you. The guy behind you doesn't get checked up. And it's so hard to pass. So things happen fast. When an opening presents itself, you got to take it, because if you don't know when you're ever going to get it again. So I think there's some impatience, because if you don't go right now, you might not ever have that chance again.
Jeff Burton's car right now getting into the corner well. It needs to turn better in the center, according to the driver.
You know what? Looks like that 31 car, BP's got a hood pin is out all the way to the right, and there may be another one broken right next to it. So he looks like he may have 2 hood pins broke or slid out of that thing when he made contact.
And as soon as NASCAR sees that, guess what?
They're going to black flag him.
And guess what we're doing? Showing it to NASCAR. Because you cannot run around this racetrack without 4 hood pins.
So you see the hood pin right there on the right, it's flapping right there. That's a hood pin that's out, and like I said, it looks like there may be 2 of them. If you were on a faster racetrack, that hood would just peel back and just slam on the windshield.
And that's directly related to when he ran in the back of the 01 car earlier on in the race.
Dave, you got some more?
And they're not talking about it yet. They may after we show it for a while, but they're not talking about the hood pins right now. Interesting note, Jeff Burton is one of the only teams this year, I think there's only a couple left, that have not used the lucky dog rule this year. If they have to pit and they go a lap down, if they're the first car a lap off the pace, they get a free pass on the following caution. So they may take advantage of that rule finally in 2006.
See how that works out, but when the lapping process starts here, Jeff Gordon's going to be passing a lot of guys in a hurry.
Well, yeah, that started. He caught LePage.
Right.
He is right next to Kenny Wallace. Mike Skinner's right in front of him, so he's going to be in the thick of it pretty quick here.
See Reed Sorensen, that 41 Target car, losing some positions. A battle for the 4th position between the 2 car of Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 and Jimmy Johnson in 48. And I still think 48 is going to be someone to be reckoned with before the day's over.
Junior taking a look at underneath the 2 car.
You did your garage research this morning on that, on the 48?
Yeah.
Okay. How about it, Matt?
Well, much like BP heard this morning, too, everyone picking the 48 as the car to beat going in and showing why he has climbed up right on the back deck with the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, the car is good, but the radio wasn't. His spotter, Earl Barber, had to swap around different radios because he was not coming across very strong, and also there was a big delay. So now Jimmy can hear him as they're trying to work that car, which is a little bit tight in the center, up through traffic. Marty?
Matt talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr. moments before he climbed in the car. I said, how's the confidence level today? He said, extremely high. Felt very good about the car yesterday in practice. This is the same car they finished 4th with here in April, but that doesn't tell the story. They started 29th here in April, wrecked twice, and finished the race with about 1/3 of his front fender missing, and was able to still finish 4th in this race car. That's the only place at only something like Martinsville where you could do something like that. Alan?
A developing issue perhaps with the 2nd place car of Denny Hamlin. Just a couple laps ago, he called into his crew and said there's a miss in the engine. He just called in now, said it's worse coming up off the corner. They asked him to check his gauges, keeping an eye on Denny Hamlin, one of the chasers, maybe developing an early problem.
You know, didn't he have he had a problem at Martinsville?
Yep.
I mean, Richmond, another short racetrack. At Richmond, a piece of rubber came up off the racetrack, landed on the exhaust system. When it caught on fire, it burned the plug wire off.
And he crashed here on lap 307 in the spring, finished 37th. Jeff Gordon lapping traffic early here at Martinsville. 75 career wins, 7 of them have come right here. He's chasing number 8 here at Martinsville and number 76 for his career. That would tie him with Dale Earnhardt. The Subway 500 on NBC is brought to you by the Ford Mustang. Bold moves, they happen every day. By Bank of America. By Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. This is Budweiser. This is beer. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. 57 laps are complete. Here at Martinsville, Jeff Gordon continues to lead. Time now for the Singular Race Talk question. What is your favorite short track moment of 2006? To vote, text the word race to 191 on your Singular wireless phone. You'll have a chance to win a first-class trip to Miami. I know the winner already.
Yeah, I mean.
But we'll keep it a secret, right?
You know, I talked about, you know, possibly NASCAR black flagging him because the hood pin's out. I personally am, when we see the hood pin just dangling around there, I personally am tickled to death that they haven't. I'd hate to see a Nextel Cup championship be decided by a hood pin rather than being decided on the racetrack. Dave?
And it was a little loud down here. I had a quick conversation with crew chief Scott Miller, and his response to me, it was either I don't know about that, or I know about that, but it's not a problem. Basically, he's not worried about it right now. No prep being made, although obviously when they do come down for their first pit stop, they'll pop those things back in if they aren't broken off at the stud there, BP.
I think what they'll probably do, Dave, is just put some big pieces of tape across that just to seal up the hood and the top of the fenders there.
I'm not sure they are broke, Dave. The way the rear of that car came across his hood, it looks like it just peeled the pins out.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if they're broke or not.
And you brought up a really good point that on a faster track this would be a bigger issue.
That hood would have been laying on the windshield if it were a faster racetrack, but since you're not getting the huge straightaway speeds here, it's popping up a little bit, but not nearly as it would if you're running 150, 160 miles per hour.
Yeah, we saw what top speed of 112, 14 miles per hour.
You got something more, Dave?
Well, Wally, I was thinking the same thing you were. You could not have reached out there and pulled out 2 pins better than the rear end of Joe Nemechek's car did, could you?
Yeah, it just kind of sweeped across that hood, and it looked like it just laid the pins out. So if they're lucky, those posts are still there, and they can just repin it, because that's going to be a lot better than sticking a bunch of tape on there.
And we see a new second-place car. He's not in the picture, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. has passed all these cars, moved into second. That is a battle for the 3rd position between Hamlin and there Jimmy Johnson has gotten by Tony Stewart, trying to take over that 3rd spot.
4 drivers in the chase running the top 4 positions: Gordon, Earnhardt, Hamlin, and Jimmy Johnson. Kevin Harvick is back in 12th along with Kyle Busch. Jeff Burton is 19th. Is 18th rather. Mark
Trouble, trouble. 42 is around.
Casey Mears. Caution is out on the racetrack.
Trying to get turned around here. Got the leader up here.
He wanted to spin it down the other way so badly, but so much traffic come by he couldn't do it. But I thought he did a good job. What space he had, turning it around the other direction.
And he was running 11th.
I am gonna reckon.
Think he had some help, BP?
Oh, I would guess so.
Here we go down in the corner. Looks like Ryan Newman is right on his tail, and yep, pretty much just booted him out of the way. And I believe if Casey Mears gets back to that 12 car, there'll be some more contact.
There's no way in the world you're going to convince 42 that wasn't intentional.
Going to be very busy on pit road. Michael Waltrip is the lucky dog. The leaders are on pit road and in their stalls, Matt.
And the former Martinsville winner, Jimmy Johnson, is in. Chad Knaus is going to try to fix the handling of this race car with a track bar adjustment. It was a little free on entry, but this biggest issue was snug across the center of the corner. AB?
Jeff Gordon naturally very pleased with the handling of his car. Said if it drives like this all day, it's going to be fun. 4-tire change there. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. hits pit road running second. Alan, he said the car just a little bit tight in the center of the corner, but he didn't have much to say on that run. They said, you want to make any changes? He said, nah, let's leave it like it is. Dave?
Jeff Burton's crew taking extra time now. Wally, they went with tape, believe it or not. Feeling that that was the way to go, they put tape on the right front of that car, keep the hood in place. Also made an air pressure adjustment for Jeff's car to turn a little bit better in the center of the corner.
How about that Kenny Schrader? Great run going for Schrader. Where'd he end up? 8th off pit road?
That's the Nextel race off of pit road. Nextel celebrating speed, teamwork, and getting things done instantly. Under caution here at Martinsville. Sort out the running order when we come back. Still under caution here at Martinsville. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Caution after contact between a couple of cars.
Well, we saw the 12 get in the back of the 42 and spin him out. But Wally, tell him about the rest of the story.
Apparently, there's always more to the story. We just have to get into it. It looked like the 42 got underneath the 12 car in the corner, and they made some contact. Right in here. And you see here, these guys are bouncing off each other. The 42 comes up and runs into the 12. Then the 12 goes down the back, turns left, runs into the 42. Okay, so now they're in turn 3 and they're really aggravated at each other.
Oh, they're really angry by now.
And when they went down and got into turn 4, or yeah, turn 1, they decided, okay, I'll finish it off right here.
Well, NASCAR has sent Ryan Newman to the tail end of the longest line for aggressive driving. And they've also warned Casey Mears in the 42 car to monitor his behavior, and they will start one car apart when we go back to green. There's Mears in the 42. And there's one car behind him, and then the 12 of Ryan Newman, the tail end of the longest line, the field getting the 1 to go.
And here's how it usually works out. Next week in Atlanta, they'll be parked beside of each other in the garage area.
I just saw Greg Biffle pull into the garage area. He's got problems.
He had problems last week at Charlotte.
Ready, green.
Tony Raines in that 96 car runs second, a 2-tire stop.
This is where it really pays to be the leader, BP, because Jeff Gordon's already cleared the traffic. These guys back in 4th, 5th, 6th spot, they're going to run on the outside of the cars that are a lap or more down. When that all happens, when they finally get through that, Jeff Gordon's going to have a 3 or 4 second lead.
And Tony Raines at 96 car trying to clear the lap car of Clint Boyer. I started saying, well, he does have it made. Well, does he?
It's clear now.
Finally.
30 cars on the lead lap.
And Boyer knows better than to block Junior, especially in Virginia or North Carolina.
Or any place else.
Or any place else.
Marty.
Hey, Bill, Dale Earnhardt Jr. tooling around on the racetrack, having an awfully fun day so far at Martinsville. He said, you know, it takes a little while for our car to come in, but once it does, we're as good as anyone, especially that 24 car. They decided to make no changes on the last stop. Junior said, let's leave it, see what happens, and if we work ourselves into a problem here, then we'll make changes on the next stop. But I think it's going to be really good as the day goes on.
Keep an eye on that. Now there's the 31 of Jeff Burton. Went in 17th, came out 29th, but they did work on the front of that car. Dave, looks like a pretty solid tape job.
It was, and longer than driver Jeff Burton wanted them to take, of course. And Jeff kind of questioned Scott Miller, the crew chief, on that. And Scott says, no, we had to take the time. NASCAR was looking at it. I think they saw it on TV. So, you know, we'll take the blame for that. But Jeff's car is a lot more solid now, don't you think?
Yeah, Dave, be careful down that pit this afternoon, okay?
It'll let me down here.
The problem is he's back here on the tail end of this group, and he's in heavy traffic. In the meantime, Jeff Gordon and, you know, company are just smoking around this place. So he's got to get through this traffic or he can go a lap down.
And you talked before the race began about how close the times and the speeds were here.
I mean, everybody's running pretty much the same times, and it's so difficult to pass here. We see Junior gets around Raines for second, but yeah, especially when you're boxed up and you've got the traffic in the back, which is running side by side. They're all running the same speed. You can't go anywhere. You have to wait until it settles down.
The drivers in yellow on the ticker at the top of the screen, the 10 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship.
And there we see Ryan Newman, the 12th car, going by the 42 on the outside.
Cleanly.
At least he's got a lot of courage, all I can tell you.
NASCAR warned both these drivers. Be a little more patient, a little less aggressive.
But it looks like Casey Mears might have the preferred line. Marty, about that 12 car?
I think Ryan Newman will be brave around the 42 car, but he did make a point on his radio to say, I'm going to be careful around the chasers. He was very cognizant of the fact that there are many chasers out on the track. Obviously, all 10 still out on the racetrack. He said, when I'm around them, I'll be more careful, I promise. And that was more of a message to NASCAR than anything. Battle for third, Bill.
Tony Stewart.
Not much of a battle. I mean, you know, I think Tony's on those 2 tires. All these other guys are on 4 tires. You know, tires mean a lot here at BP, so, you know, Tony Raines is going to lose some spots.
And the guys told me that the lefts are wearing more than the rights here, that any concern about tire wearing out would be the left side.
The spring race here at Martinsville was Tony Raines' first race in that 96 car. Started 12th, finished 21st.
They figured out how to get the lefts in the racetrack. When we were doing this, the lefts were, you didn't even need them on the race car.
That's right. They run all day long. Alan, what's going on with the 29 car?
Just called in on his radio a lap ago, BP, and said, I've got a bad vibration. I don't know what's going on, but a bad vibration. Now, a lot of times after a pit stop, that means that a wheel was left loose. We'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll keep an ear on Kevin Harvick's radio, but another one of the chasers with a little early concern.
And they are starting the air pressure in these tires so low.
Yeah, if you look at the left front tire, like when they go down in the corner, they look like they're flat.
Right.
And you're right. It's just all, the pressures are way, way, way down on these cars. Help these cars get some grip.
And when they come off the corner and hit the accelerator, it looks like the left rear is low. See how much it looks like the left rear is flat?
It actually crinkles.
Just because of 800 horsepower trying to wring that tire off the wheel.
And the longer you go, the more the air pressure builds up. Jeff Gordon has led 86 laps. We've run 86 laps. Gordon looking for the sweep. Not this year. NBC tonight, your chance to catch up on Heroes, the season's biggest new show. 3 episodes back to back to back. The Heroes Marathon starts at 8, 7 Central tonight on NBC. Looking for a hero here at Martinsville. Jeff Gordon runs out front.
Jeff Gordon, we just talked about a little bit. 18 cars just came in. He had a left rear flat tire. They just changed that. We talked about it when they threw the green about Jeff Gordon catching Jeff Burton in a hurry because of where he was, and he has caught him. There you see Jeff Burton. There you see Jeff Gordon.
On board with Michael Waltrip looking back at Gordon. And there's the 31 of Burton, just 2 cars in front of the race leader. More from Dave.
And the problem that he's having right now is that the car is overheating for Jeff. They may have had more damage to that front end than they thought, but the other problem was that Jeff was running in a very, very tight pack of traffic. He's since loosed himself from that, put some air between him and the other cars to try to cool that car down. Wally, that's about all you can do as a driver.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, David, by putting that, you know, when that hood was like that, it was getting air in the engine compartment. There was a lot more air getting in there. When they taped the front of that thing up, BP, they sealed that thing off. So now the only air going in is that opening, which is crushed, like you pointed out.
Which is crushed and laid down. They do have an opening on the bottom where underneath Monte Carlo, that is air going into the radiator, but there's tape there. I think on a caution flag or next pit stop, they need to rip all that tape off to get more air into the grill.
But I think by sealing that hood off, they're also sealing the heat underneath that thing. I think that may have made a little bit of a difference. I don't know what his temperatures are, you know, but if they're 250 in that range, he'll be okay. If there's anything more than that, it's going to be dangerous.
Now Jeff Burton can see the race leader on his bumper. Burton the leader in the championship standings. Gordon came in 10th in the chase.
And the thing about this place, too, is you go a lap down, you need to stay on the bumper of that leader because Jeff Gordon's going to be putting guys a lap down every 2 or 3 laps here for a while.
Want to update the 16 of Greg Biffle. Marty Snyder reported that it was brake issues that sent the 16 to the garage.
And this traffic has allowed the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. to pull up right on the back bumper of the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Well, okay, 2 car lengths from the 24 car.
15 laps ago, Jr. was about 2 seconds behind Gordon. As Benny pointed out, He's closed that to just a couple of car lengths.
Boy, this is something Jeff Burton does not want to see, is that 24 car go by. If the caution flag comes out now under NASCAR rules, he can make up a half mile. The pace car goes out, gets in front of the 24. 31 goes all the way around the racetrack. But if he loses this one car length, he's in trouble, and he's about to lose it.
That 24 car is working so good in the center of the corners right now. I mean, Jeff Burton could hold them up for a little while, but not for long.
Jeff Gordon, the race leader. Burton back in 27th, trying to stay on the lead lap.
Jeff Burton is not giving that 24 car much room.
I think he had 2 inches to spare. Well,
pretty close down there in 1 and 2 there.
Earnhardt Jr. watching it all.
Well, that time he didn't have any to spare.
Inside, when you're still inside.
So the top 2 cars get past Burton.
And that was just Gordon running out of patience. Yeah. You know, he said, man, all right, I've had enough. He let that car drift and just slid up on that 31 car a little bit just to let him know, hey, I'm lapping to get out of the way. On the other hand, 31's, hey, I'm trying to win a championship here.
Burton was 5th here in this race last year. Black flag 55. Michael Waltrip for leaking fluid on the track. Gordon had Earnhardt on his bumper. Had to get past Burton. Now Burton hopes that he will be a lucky dog. When we come back to Martinsville, we will take you through the field. You're watching the Subway 500 live on NBC. Well, from NFL stars to Hollywood stars, watch video of everyone who has ever taken a wild ride in Wally's World. It's only at NBCSports.com.
But yesterday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. rode with Wally, and you gave him some pointers, and it looks like he's working. He's running 2nd spot, just half second behind the leader.
Oh, now they're all going to want to ride for the next few races.
I know.
I think it was the hot dogs myself.
Could have been the hot dogs.
All right, let's take you through the field. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Here's Alan Bestwick.
And as you can imagine, Bill, they didn't have to change much on that race car on the first set of pit stops. A 4-tire change and no adjustments to the machine. Jeff Gordon seeking Martinsville win number 8 here today. Marty?
Talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Friday, and he said, you know, we're 5th in the championship standings. I think we're actually in pretty good shape. Jeff Burton can be caught, and they're certainly gaining ground today at Martinsville. They also think they have a car to get around Jeff Gordon. The longer Junior runs, the better he gets. They're hoping this stays green flag for a while. Matt?
Marty, the mental approach that Jimmy Johnson is taking is basically no pressure situation. Nowhere to go but up. Trying to chase down the 31, which he passed on the racetrack back on lap 117. He asked how the wheels looked as far as the brake does. His team told him no issues. Jimmy says they're keeping up with the track with a recent change. Marty?
In practice this entire weekend, Matt, Tony Stewart has not been very good. In fact, yesterday they struggled. They were 30th on the board, a full 2nd behind everybody else. So what do? This morning they just put in the setup that won the race here in April. Obviously it's working pretty well. They're up in 4th. Alan?
Tony Raines driving for Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach having a solid run in 5th position. He had his best qualifying run of the season here this weekend, 11th. A week after his best finish of the season, a 7th at Charlotte last Saturday. 2 tires on their pit stop. He's holding his track position, Marty.
Kurt Busch says his team has been fantastic on Fridays this year. Again, they won the pole for this race, but not so good on Sundays. That's where they needed to improve. Today, though, very solid. A car that's a little bit too tight, but they've been able to keep it up in the top 6 all afternoon long. How about this run for Ken Schrader, making his 44th Martinsville start? He told me here in the spring race, I made some dumb moves, put myself in some bad situations that caused us to get wrecked. Today, I just want to drive a smart race. If I can stay in the top 15 all day long, I'll be happy. Alan?
But Denny Hamlin's team did not even lift the hood and look at the engine problem on the first pit stop. Crew chief Mike Ford said with 32 cars on the lead lap, I don't want to give up the track position, and your lap times are as good as they were before. Denny kind of couldn't grasp that because he was slower on the straightaway, but they told him you're able to go faster through the corners by having a little less power. Right behind Denny, a couple spots back, is Jeff Green in the 66 car. Green started this race with a great qualifying run in the 8th position. 4-tire change on his pit stop He had a crew chief change just a little while back, and he's looking for good things since reunited with Harold Holley that he won a Busch Series championship with a couple of years ago. Matt?
Working all over his bumpers, the 5 of Kyle Busch, who started today in the 15th position. This team has been the best team on the short tracks in 2006, but they're still chasing their first short track win of the year. They have finished everywhere from 2nd to 8th, and the work in progress continues. The wedge track bar and air pressure adjustment has helped. He said it's better through the center, but still tight on exit. Marty?
Matt passing Kyle Busch to move into the top 10 was Joe Nemechek, whose car is starting to look like a more typical Martinsville race car. They were involved in the early accident, had the water temperature problem, but since then, no worries about the water temperature, and the car's handling pretty good. Last stop, no changes to it. Alan?
Kevin Harvick, 3rd in the championship, reporting that vibration on his car just a little while ago. Then he came back on the radio, said he thinks it might be a transmission or a rear end, but no comment since then other than he thinks the handling on the car is deteriorating some. Dave?
Mark Martin, 4th in the championship coming into today. Having a pretty good run so far. Started 25th, restarted 14th on the last run, currently running in the 13th position. Drove it pretty hard, though. Brakes a little hot. He's backing off a little bit on that to try to save him. Alan?
Discussions around Matt Kenseth's car pretty much are the same thing they've been all weekend. It's not that it feels all that bad to the driver, it's just not fast. They continue to make adjustments, talking about more tire pressure adjustments after this last pit stop. Dave?
Kasey Kahne not running very well right now, 24th position. He might have known the weekend was going bad when his golf cart broke down on his way from his motor coach to the qualifying line. Had to hustle to make his assigned spot. He did that, but unfortunately his car is not running well today. Will not turn in the center of the corners. The 31 car of Jeff Burton has been having his problems. The crew is standing by the ready with their pressurized water hoses in case Jeff does overheat it, pushes the water out, and needs to add more on the next pit stop.
Thanks, guys. And this has been very interesting, this group. Race leader Jeff Gordon trying to get past Casey Mears. Kasey Kahne trying to stay on the lead lap. And Jimmie Johnson getting around Earnhardt into second. Looking at the leader.
And trying to get by the 24 car for the lead, yes. Okay, I'm going to follow the 42. Come on, Casey Mears. You're my friend. We're both in California. Pass that 24 car so I can. That's what Jimmie Johnson is saying. Oops, didn't work.
Casey wanted to move up there, but Jimmy had already taken the position.
Got Casey Mears trying to stay on that lead lap as well.
And you're right, he wants to run as fast as he can now to stay right behind the 24 car to become the lucky dog in case the caution flag were to come out.
Kasey Kahne, as of right now, 10th in the championship standings, 23rd on the grid. And Gordon trying to put him a lap down.
See Kasey Kahne put a little bit of a block there on the 24 car.
Looked like Talladega all over, didn't it?
So Jeff Gordon has put Jeff Burton and Kasey Kahne, a couple of guys in the chase for the Nextel Cup, a lap down. He's still working on Kahne. We'll update you when we come back. The Subway 500, the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. 143 laps are complete. Jeff Gordon is the race leader, and his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jimmie Johnson looking underneath him for the lead.
Not so quick with that Jeff Gordon, the leader. Here goes Jimmie Johnson into the lead.
It's better off giving it to him, falling back in line. And that's exactly what he did, just so he doesn't lose a lot of time, because Stewart's coming.
And Johnson's also going to get a chance to get 5 bonus points here for leading a lap. Hendrick Motorsports has won the last 3 Subway 500s and 5 of the last 7 here at Martinsville.
Oh my gosh, was that just a 5 points? I guess it was.
How about that? Alan?
Bill Jeff Gordon spotter came on the radio just before that first pass was made and said, 48 like a chance to lead a lap here. Very nicely orchestrated, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Well done.
Teamwork.
You know, in honor of Clay Earls, who built this racetrack back in the 40s and ran it for so long, it's time to cue the duck.
Our Aflac trivia questions. There a connection there?
You know, he had a big pond about 3 and 4 full of ducks. He loved those things.
That's right. You know whatever happened to those ducks?
2 chase drivers to win their first short track race.
No comment.
At Martinsville.
Who on the 2 change?
Well, Jeff Gordon would be one, and let's see.
I believe driver 48.
Martin?
48.
48.
Let's see. And the answer is Jeff Burton and Jimmy Johnson.
Huh. Well, well. 1997, Jeff Burton won.
An update on the 48 from Mr. York.
And a big observation from Jimmy Johnson inside the 48 car after he gave the lead back to his teammate Jeff Gordon. He said, just to let you know, by the way, the 24 is holding me up about a tenth a lap. So I'm just going to sit back here, ride, and save my stuff.
And that's one of the keys at Martinsville.
Is save your stuff.
Because you want it for what, the last 100?
100 laps, because guess what? In the last 100 laps, these people that are difficult to pass, they're going to be a couple of laps down. They're going to get out of your way when you come catch them, and you need something to go by them quickly when they do move out of the way.
Boy, Burton running back in the 26th spot just closed things up on this championship chase. Tightened it really up.
Did knock Casey Kane off the lead lap. Right now, Casey, the first car, 1 lap down, but Sorensen is about to grab that honor. He's reading the 41. Dale Jarrett in front of him. Then Carl Edwards. Jeff Gordon, 9th or better in his last 7 races at Martinsville, including 4 wins. In the last 22 races, he has completed all but 6 of the 11,000 laps. Jimmy Johnson gets the lead back, as they talked about. Johnson felt he was a little faster. Maybe he's not going to save his stuff.
Okay, Jeff Gordon said, Jimmy, you should save your stuff.
Yeah, that's what he is saying.
Tony Stewart in 3rd behind these two. Then Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Raines. And Raines doing well on those 2 tires. There's Jeff Burton, championship leader.
It's a busy racetrack. You don't have much time to rest here. You hard on the gas coming off the corners.
David Stremme has gone around in turn 4, caution number 3.
Kane will probably have that honor you were talking about, Bill.
Wait until we get the official word on the Lucky Dog. You can see the sun coming out here in Martinsville.
I also see some damage to the left rear of that 40 car, like someone might have helped him go around.
We've seen a little of that already today.
Because if you'd hit the wall, that it makes sense that would be pushed in. Let's see.
Yeah, I'd say he had a little contact there.
McMurray in 26.
Yes, sir.
It is.
And Wally, you're correct. Casey Kane is the lucky dog. So he gets to come around and be the 23rd car on the lead lap.
Pit road was closed at that time. My guess is next time by we'll see feeding at the zoo.
Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Raines, the top 5. Half-mile track here at Martinsville. Very tight and windy pit road.
What I mean by that is the chaos that goes on pit road.
And that is a good word for it here. Some places it's organized chaos. Here, it's just flat-out chaos. You have to. Jimmy Johnson is headed toward Matt Yoakum.
The Lowe's guys up on the wall waiting for Jimmy to peel around the corner here and hit his box. Easy in, easy out. A small chassis adjustment says the car was very consistent. Just a tick on the tight side on that run. AB.
Jeff Gordon going to get a little help with an adjustment for the rear end grip on this car. We have 4 tire change here by the 2014 as they go to work. A lot of brake dust off the front of that car. Marty?
Alan Tony Stewart running 3rd, said he lost the forward bite at the end of that run. He said, we're not terrible. We just need to be a little bit better. They're going to take out the wedge adjustment they put in last time and a pound out of both left side tires for the 20 team. Dave?
Mark Martin's crew had a very smooth pit stop. Now the hard part, negotiating this slow and winding pit road. Mark has the first stall coming in. He has to watch all the guys pulling out in front of him, like these guys pulling off a pit road here. There goes Mark. They made a 4 tire change, just slight increase in the air pressure in the right rear to help the car turn.
Very tricky working your way off of pit road here.
Mark was running about 12th or 13th when this series of pit stops started.
Watch out here, Martinsville. Oh, lost a camera. Went back to green about 3/4 of a lap ago. Jimmie Johnson, the race leader. Jeff Gordon runs second. Then it's Stuart Earnhardt Jr. and Denny Hamlin.
Well, I see Chad Knaus and his guys held serve on pit road. As a matter of fact, it looks like that everyone in the top 4 held serve. Nothing changed.
Casey Mears is the first car a lap down. Jeff Burton is the next guy, and he would really like to get past Casey Mears.
Jeff Burton will be racing hard here, trying to stay with those leaders, make the pass of Mears.
He got a leap off that second corner, trying to get by the 20 of Tony Stewart. And Junior trying to get by Stewart as well, take over that 3rd position.
And even though Jeff Burton is the championship leader, if these guys racing for position will run out of patience with Jeff, you know, eventually.
Now, the fact that he's in the chase, will that have any factor?
A little bit. They may give him an extra lap, okay, but
well,
that's about it. Yeah.
That's so 20 seconds is up.
Yeah.
And now it looks like the 24 car is pressuring the 48, as Jimmie Johnson did just before this caution flag.
Now, before Johnson made the pass on Gordon for the lead, this was the conversation on the radio of the 24 team.
Hey, do you want to work the traffic, or do you want me to work the traffic? Because I'm trying to pass these guys, but fine, if you want the race, go ahead.
And when Jeff Gordon came on and said fine, that was the exact moment that Jimmie Johnson cut underneath him to go past him. Gordon felt like he was trying to be patient, working his way through the traffic. Johnson went by him. It was very close off pit road between the two, and now it's still pretty close on the racetrack.
Jimmie Johnson, 3rd place the last 2 races here at Martinsville, and a top 10 in the last 8 races here, including 5 top 5s, and his win in this race 2 years ago, October of 2004, and a popular pick in the garage this morning to go back to victory lane this afternoon.
Yes, car was. And yesterday in the happy hour, I stood by a scoring monitor yesterday and watched the last hour of practice, and that 48 just kept going to the top. Someone might beat him by a few hundredths, and then 48 would come back and run another lap. It was really interesting to watch.
Jimmy led 195 laps here in the spring. Tony Stewart won here in April.
And Jimmy's starting to put a little bit of distance on the 24 car. Not much, but a little bit. And we see Hamlin in the 11 car has been able to get by Tony Stewart and move into the 4th position.
And Jeff Burton on the bumper of Casey Mears.
He still has aspirations to get him by Mears, that's for sure.
Casey able to pull away a little bit on that lap. There's Junior. Running 3rd behind the Hendrick teammates. On board the Budweiser Chevy.
Casey Mears going to go past the 24 car if we aren't careful.
Johnson trying to pull further away from Gordon. Has not been a lot of fun in the chase for the championship for Jeff Gordon. Has struggled in the recent races. Had the fuel pump issue at Kansas. Got caught up in the big crash, Talladega. And last Saturday night at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, kaboom. And that's pretty much when they decided they were out of it. And Steve Letarte said he called Jeff and said, look, We're 10th. It's not necessarily the points. It's the people we have to pass. Let's go ahead and focus on 2007 and see what happens in the next couple of races.
But he gave Jeff the opportunity to say no, because he said, look, we might finish second or something, and that's a lot of money.
Right.
And it's your money. You get a bit. So you tell me, do you want to get ready for 07, or do you want to try and run second?
Right.
And Jeff Gordon made the decision. We'll try to get ready for 07.
But he did hedge a little bit. If we're a little closer in a couple of races and some guys have some trouble, then we'll refocus our attention. Right now, Gordon's attention's on race leader Jimmie Johnson. The Subway 500 from Martinsville on NBC is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. By Team Chevy, 25 of the last 34 NASCAR manufacturers championships and counting. Chevy and American Revolution. By Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. And by UPS, proud sponsor of Dale Jarrett's 88 Ford. Go, Dale, go. 186 laps are complete. Jimmie Johnson is the race leader. Jeff Gordon runs second. Then it's Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Tony Raines in the top 5. Tony Stewart back in the 6th spot. There's the 4-car driven by Ward Burton this week.
Looks like he has the same problem his brother has. He ran the back of someone.
He's 34th, 3 laps down, 2 laps down right now. Dave?
Yeah, they did have trouble. They came in and fixed that early. Right now, the car a bit snappy loose, according to Ward. But you know what? In his off time, he hasn't raced since November of 2004. He's been taking care of family business and watching his brother Jeff. And here are his thoughts on the championship leader.
My philosophy is a lot of things that happen to you. Some are being in the right place, right time. Some are making things happen for you. Jeff teaming up with RCR and the things that Childress has done over there. His new crew chief has all made Jeff shine. And I know he's ecstatic. We're all happy for him. It's really his championship to win or lose, I feel. He's got the best running car, I think, right now.
And the hardest work for Ward this weekend was just making the show. They were 39th in owners' points. 35 spots are guaranteed. He had to race his way in had to qualify in with a very fast lap, and he did that. He made the show, even though he's running laps down.
Thanks, Dave. And Ward Burton got his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series win at Rockingham, October 22nd, 1995, 11 years ago today.
I talked to Larry McClure, one of the owners of this 4-car this morning, and asked him what Ward's plans were. He and Ward's plans were the rest of the year. Ward is scheduled to be in this 4-car at the Texas Motor Speedway. Todd Bodine is going to drive and was scheduled to drive next week in Atlanta. Will drive. But Larry said he's amazed at how many fans Ward Burton has. He said their website has gone nuts this week with the knowledge that Ward Burton was driving.
And you could tell that also by the media attention that Ward got here on Friday. Brothers racing, Kyle Busch inside of Kurt.
That's for 8th and 9th spot.
Kurt Busch racing without his crew chief this week. Mentioned it earlier. Roy McCauley fined $25,000 and suspended from all NASCAR events until November 1st. The result of a rules violation at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
The right rear shock would not compress. Is that right, Marty?
That's exactly right, BP. And Roy is unfortunately regretting that shock and at home today watching today's race, no doubt keeping up with the exploits of the 2-car. The man filling in for him is Matt Gimbel. And when you can go to the bullpen and pull out a guy like Matt Gimbel, that's pretty good. They won all those Busch Series races last year with Ryan Newman. Matt Gimbel was helping out that team. Roy McCauley was the crew chief. And then this year, when Kurt Busch made his Busch Series debut, Matt Gimbel was the crew chief. They won his very first race. It was at the Texas Motor Speedway. Matt's an awfully good crew chief. One of the young men coming up through the ranks at Penske. But of course, they do miss Roy. They're anxious to have him back at Texas.
And Marty, the Penske people say they're not going to appeal that. Is that correct?
And that is my understanding. As of now, there is no appeal in the process, so they do not plan to appeal that penalty for Roy McCauley.
It's going to be interesting when they take that shock apart.
And we see Tony Raines, the 96 car, is closed up on the back bumper of the 11. Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart right behind them. So it looks like that the 11 car might be losing just a little bit of his speed.
Green had his first top 10 of 2006 last week at Lowe's when he finished 7th. Update on the 11 of Denny Hamlin from Allen.
Yeah, just came down off the pit box talking to Mike Ford, the crew chief, Bill. They've still not lifted the hood on this car. I asked him why, and he said because we've had this problem a couple of other times this year, and we can't fix it. We just have to ride it out and see what we get. So right now, they're just kind of hoping it holds together and gets Denny Hamlin to the finish. I'd say 4th or 5th place isn't all that bad for now.
But it looks like that with open racetrack, he doesn't have any problem at all. It's traffic, I guess, that slows him down.
Well, you know, here's the other thing maybe you guys can explain. The guy's got less power, and he's losing time to his competitors on the straightaway. But overall, he's running the same lap time as he was before he reported the engine problem because of the way the car goes through the corners.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much to turn him. That last lap, he was the fastest car on the racetrack. So this lap, he was right there with the fastest lap. So not hurting him a ton.
And he's got just under 300 to go here at Martinsville. Jimmie Johnson has 22 career wins. Only 1 victory, though, on a short track. Where was that? Right here at Martinsville. This race 2 years ago. Johnson leads in the Subway 500. Caution has just come out here at the Martinsville Speedway. Single car spin by Michael Waltrip, bringing out the yellow. Our 4th caution period of the day. Jimmie Johnson is the race leader, then Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Tony Stewart. Pit road is open. Johnson is coming for a visit to you, Matt.
And they're looking at another small track bar adjustment, just trying to keep up with the changing racetrack. And even with the sun out, it hasn't changed drastically. So they're going to make some small adjustments air pressure wise as well. But Jimmy said the car really good. Just a tick on the tight side. Starts out a little on the free side. They are very pleased. AB.
Jeff Gordon looking for help getting into and off of the corner. It's going to be a 4-tire change. They'll pull off one of the windshield tear-offs to help him there. And they're going to try and see if they can get out ahead of the 48 car and maybe gain that spot they lost on the track here on pit road. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 30 said, you know, I just want to be more aggressive with the gas, but I really can't afford to do that because I'm worried that the car is going to snap loose coming off the corners. He's a little tight in the center of the corner. They're going to take the time on 4 tires and make their first adjustment of the day, and air pressure adjustment in the right front. Dave?
Mark Martin once again making the long drive down pit road. 4 tires on the car. Just a hint, in Mark's words, of wedge out of the left rear. The car is turning better, but he doesn't want to make it too loose.
So the field works off of pit road, coming out of turn 2 and onto the backstretch. Under caution at Martinsville, spin by Michael Waltrip, and you're riding along. Well, you're not really riding along. You're just kind of like sitting there because the caution is out. Here's our Napa Field summary. Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson have been the 2 leaders. We're about to end our 4th caution period of the day. And everybody's still in the race. 22 cars on the lead lap. Dave Blaney, the lucky dog. Here we go.
Green flag.
Elliott Sadler with a 2-tire stop in the 19 car. Restarts 6th.
I guess they watched Tony Raines at 96 car change those right sides earlier in the race and saw how well he ran after about 15, 20 laps. Said, well, we'll try that. Trying to get some track position. Talking about Elliott Sadler in the 19.
Yeah, and well, it gets you up further in the field because we see how fast these guys get to the tail end, the leaders, and start lapping cars. So may save them a little bit.
Blaney was the lucky dog under that caution that we just ended, but it also saved Casey Kane because he was about to go a lap down. Jeff Burton struggling in that 31 car. An update from Dave.
During the last run, guys, he was reporting 3/4 down the straightaway, the motor was shutting off. So right after the restart, he asked the crew, should I switch to the B box? He did that. Jeff just radioed in. Motor broke. The crew scrambled. He's still under power right now, but something definitely wrong under the hood.
The car looks like he's extremely loose when he comes off the corner. Looks like he wants to spin out.
board with Burton.
This is not good.
No. Came in as the championship leader.
Well, what do you think now?
You see him looking down at his gauges. He's looking.
Carburetor down here.
It's not the carburetor. It is not the carburetor. It's the engine. Trust me, it's the engine. What do you want to do?
They want to keep running until they won't run anymore, would be my guess.
Jump in here, Dave.
And you hear the voice of Jeff Burton. You heard crew chief Scott Miller. You also heard the voice of Wes Adams. He's the engine tuner. They always bring a tuner to the racetrack, and he was also trying to diagnose, but Jeff is now saying it's definitely something internal. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, well, you know, you're sitting there as a driver, and when something like this happens, you want answers. You don't know what to do because you don't want to. This isn't a call that you want to make, but obviously.
Going for a little while.
See, right now he's getting passed by everybody. So what I would do is I'd come in and get it fixed. I mean, obviously you can't even run fast enough to stay even with the cars that are a lap or two down. So at this point, he's got to make a call and just bring it in.
I think, was that the voice of Richard Childress that said run it?
Almost had a caution right here.
20 in the 8, Stewart and Earnhardt Jr. It was hard to tell, BP. You think that was RC?
It sounded like RC that said run it for a while.
He's way, way, way off the pace right now.
One DNF in 2006 for Burton. Engine failure at Michigan in August. That's when he called his crew together in the garage and said, we're going to be okay.
He's 3 seconds off the pace right now.
Coming to you. Coming to you.
Coming to you. I heard him say, coming to you.
He had 4 straight top 10s, then that 27th at Talladega.
To the garage.
Dave?
And guys, that was the voice of Richard Childress. Jeff responded back, if we keep running it, it will blow up. We'll get an update as soon as we have more.
Jeff Burton came in here leading in the championship standings. Got the win at Dover. But now in the garage. And a long way to go. Now here's why all three almost jumped out of the booth a minute ago.
It looks like the 8 was held up a little bit by the 07. Tony Stewart saw an opportunity, went down there to fill it, and there was a little bit of contact there. You watch as they go down into the corner here. You'll see the 7 will slide up the track a little bit. Junior tried to go underneath. Stewart was there.
And a car has spun in turn 2, Ward Burton. And the caution is out. 5th caution period of the race.
All right, get caught up.
Somebody got underneath him. Looks like Gilliland got way down underneath him, hit the curb. When he hit the curb, he bounced up into Ward.
And Ward did not make contact with the, ooh, yeah, he's all over that curb, isn't he? And Ward did not make contact with the outside retaining wall, which is a good thing.
Clint Boyer is the lucky dog. Will come around to be the 23rd car on the lead lap. There you see Jeff Burton back in the garage. Hood up, crew hard at work. Came in as the championship leader, but right now he's already slipped to 3rd. Tough day here at Martinsville for the man that came in as the championship leader. Jeff Burton, early contact with Joe Nemechek in the rear bumper. This was right when we got going early in the race. Then lost the lap to Jeff Gordon. They had to use tape to keep the hood down because he lost those hood pins. And now apparent engine problems have Jeff Burton in the garage as we go back to green.
See Ryan Newman, the 12 car, trying to get by the leader. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but at least if he can stay there, he will be the lucky dog.
A lot of good racing right here, but want to just pop in the championship standings right now because look how close this has become. Right now, Earnhardt Jr. the leader.
By 1 over Kenseth, 10 over Jeff Burton. And Jimmy Johnson, he's out about 2 or 3 mulligans. He's only 20 back.
And Jeff Gordon, who said last week at Charlotte, we're done, we're out of it.
He's how many back?
95.
95.
Maximum point swing possible in one race, 156.
Looks like everybody's still playing to me.
Yep. I think you can use your mulligan BP, and if everybody else uses theirs, to get to the 10th tee, you get a second one.
That's my kind of golf.
See, Gordon's on the low side now of the 12 car. Newman. Earnhardt's kind of stuck up there on the high side. Might just go ahead and try to take second spot as I say that.
See him pushing the 31 car, trying to get it restarted, I guess.
We watch the leaders and check with Dave.
Trouble.
Guys, it's locked up right now. We got caution on the speedway as well. Crashing, it looks like turn 3, isn't that, Bill?
Sure is.
They're all stacked up down there.
Casey Kane was at the back of it. Don't know if he's got any damage, but Kevin Harvick does.
Left front, a lot of damage to that 29 car.
5th right now in the standings. So another Childress car with problems here at Martinsville. And we're not even halfway yet.
And he's only got 2 in the chase. Both of them having trouble.
Doesn't look too serious right there. That looks just like some body damage. They'll get that banged out, and that won't be too big of an issue.
As a matter of fact, Junior finished 4th, I think, here with more damage than that early in the race.
See, at 41 to Reed Sorensen's around, but it happened up before him.
The 10 car gets in the back of him. Scott Riggs gets in the back of Sorensen. Around he goes. But it's one of those accordion effects.
Yeah, right.
You know, it happened about 10 car lengths in front of them, and it finally caught up with these 2 guys.
On board with Kurt Busch, the Miller Lite Dodge.
Check up, check up, check up. Watch them down there, watch them. Come on, you're clear. Caution's out, good job.
Good job. That was a good job. Greg Biffle, he gets involved in this.
Back it down, back it down, back it down, back it down. Stay on the bottom. Come on when you can. Come on, come on, come on.
Been a hard day for Biffle. He's 38, 13 laps down. This is Kevin Harvick's onboard camera.
Looks like Skinner's going to get the brunt of his left front. Yep.
Under caution at Martinsville. The Subway 500 from Martinsville on NBC, brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Domino's. Get the door. It's Domino's, the official pizza of NASCAR. And by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward. Car owner Richard Childress. Back in the garage, this was his conversation that Dave Burns reported about just a few moments before Burton went to the garage.
Just keep going, Jeff. On a half-mile track, you're going to lose everything. Just keep going for a little while. If it breaks, you ain't going to make up enough. Just keep going. Richard, if we don't fix it, it will blow up. It will not make the race. So that you fix it even if you go in there.
And they did go in the garage area, and they can't fix it.
Yeah.
Or they haven't yet anyway.
Dave Burns is watching that story. Ryan Newman was the lucky dog. 23 cars on the lead lap. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader.
Green, green, green.
12 laps from halfway.
Boy, it looks like the start of the race, BP. They're double file all the way back.
We'll have 23 cars on the lead lap, and only a couple of cars off the race, off the track, so that means about 20 on the inside line.
So a lot of traffic is what you're saying.
A lot of traffic. Casey Mears fighting his way back and gets that lap back at the moment.
They warned Jimmy Johnson to maintain his speed on the restarts.
And here we go, Jeff Gordon for the lead.
Those are teammates. Both drivers in the chase.
And Jeff Burton has gotten out of the 31 car.
Jeff Gordon has led 153 laps today. Jimmy Johnson, 87, the only 2 leaders of the race. Earnhardt Jr. runs in 3rd. Tony Stewart is 4th, and Denny Hamlin.
It looks like these guys are able to keep up with Jimmy Johnson for.
We got trouble. Tony Raines.
Oh, that's too bad.
32 on the wall.
Hard, Quapple hard in the wall. Well, it's a huge break for Raines because he has had such a terrific run going in that 96 DOP car.
You're exactly right.
Good break for Casey Mears, too. Get that lap back.
He's back in the lead lap, isn't he?
And Sterling Marlin will be the lucky dog. 7th caution period of the race.
96. He may got that tire cut down with contact with the 06 car.
David Reagan gets in the left rear and cuts the tire down. You're right, Wally. And I guess when they started slowing down that someone ran in the back of the 32 car. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Raines was running 6th when that happened. After the top 10 finish last Saturday at Charlotte. He's on pit road. Pit road will be open this time. Looks like Johnson is going to head that way. Yep, he came over the commitment line. Johnson came, Gordon did not.
Neither did Stewart or Hamlin.
A lot of guys staying out.
Wow.
And Chad Canals calling for a small air pressure adjustment while they give up the lead to their teammate, the 24, Jeff Gordon. Also going to make a chassis adjustment. They felt like the car just wasn't quite as good on that run as it was before. Still trying to keep this race car in that sweet spot that Jimmy likes it. It was turning so well in the center. Marty.
Well, Matt, this ought to be interesting. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes to pit road running in the 3rd position and not very happy with a call either. Tony Eury Jr. said, come. If the leader comes, that's what Jr. did. He followed the 48 down pit road. Obviously, very few cars pitting under this caution. No changes to the car and 4 tires. Bill?
Be 25 cars on the lead lap. And you see Mark Martin also on pit road. And these guys will be at the back. Here's Dave.
With Jeff Burton now, who has stepped out of the back of his hauler. Jeff, first of all, do you know what the problem was with the motor?
Yeah, something probably broke in the valve train. That's just a guess. I'm not much of an engine guy, but that's what I think happened. But you know, these things happen, and it's everybody's had an issue in this chase, and we had ours today. This thing's not over for us by any means. The Singular Chevrolet team is really fast. They were awesome on pit road today. We didn't run as good as we wanted to, but we would say it made the car a lot better that next to last run, and just a bad day for us. But we won't quit. I can guarantee you that. This team is really tough and really resilient. We still feel like that going to Atlanta that we have as good a chance as anybody, and I can guarantee you this team will not lay down.
You immediately asked the team to come to the hauler with you. Can you characterize what it was you had to say to them?
I didn't have anything to say to them. I just wanted to get everybody together, and you know, we're a team. We fight together. We die together. We do everything together, and that's what it's all about. I make mistakes, they don't get down on me, and we will, like I said, we will go to Atlanta feeling like we have as good of a chance as anybody to win this thing.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Bill?
Thank you, Dave. Right now, Burton out of the race, 40th. Car owner Richard Childress here at Martinsville. Tough day for a couple of his guys. A lot of things happening here. The field coming around to get the green. A couple of cars have stopped that were up front. They'll restart at the end of the lead lap. Tony Stewart has just made a last-second dash to pit road for a tire issue. We'll update that. He's just coming off of pit road now. He's down the back stretch. The leader's on the front stretch, and here we go. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, Tony Stewart among the cars running up front that pitted.
Tell you what, BP, those guys back there like Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got to be really careful right now because they are in a thick of a hornet's nest right now.
A lot of traffic they're trying to fight their way through, and I was thinking that, boy, don't you know that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would love to have that pit stop over one more time because he would not pit.
Yeah, you are right.
Jimmy Johnson is 16th, Martin 18th, Earnhardt Jr. 19th. Kevin Harvick is back in the 21st spot. We'll get an update on his situation in a moment. Again, the man that came in here is the championship leader, Jeff Burton, out of the race after engine failure just a few laps ago. Okay, let's get some updates here. First, the 20 car of Tony Stewart. Here's Marty.
Bill, you got a lot going on up there?
Yes, sir. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
And so does Tony
Cards
Stewart.
are flying all over the place.
Exactly, and Tony Stewart had air flying out of his left rear tire. That was the problem. Greg Zipadelli noticed it under caution. If they'd have been green, that would have been very bad for Stewart. They caught it under caution. He came in, as you said, just before the green, changed all 4 tires, but restarted 25th. And BP, you're right, Dale Earnhardt Jr. not very happy with that. Had to restart 20th. Very upset with that call. He said, guys, we have to communicate better. We cannot do that. Battle for the lead, Bill.
Virginia's own Denny Hamlin working on the rear bumper of Jeff Gordon for the lead at Martinsville.
Go, baby!
Play nice.
Oh, play nice is right. I am just amazed how well this Denny Hamlin. It's only his 3rd race. Are you supposed to run about 8 or 10 before you do this?
Racing against the 7-time Martinsville winner, Jeff Gordon. This is for the lead, just past halfway.
And while you reckon that Jeff is racing him so hard because he wants just 5 bonus points for leading the most laps?
No. I think he's just racing hard.
Just wants a lead, okay.
Wow, that was close.
He doesn't want a rookie taking it from him. It's only been here 3 times.
Still side by side. Update on Hamlin from Allen.
Came on the radio onto that last caution, Bill, and told his crew chief Mike Ford, you know, in spite of everything, this is a really good car. With that inflection in his voice, he's really impressed with the way this car's handling. And his crew chief Mike Ford thinks that the engine miss might actually be helping keep his driver from overcharging the corner by not having him be as fast at the top end of the straightaway as he might have been. That little bit of difference may be helping the driver make a better lap here. Now let me update Kevin Harvick, a driver 3rd in points who was involved in the previous caution, damage to the left front of the 29 car. I talked to crew chief Todd Berrier. He said as long as the fender's not rubbing on the tire, and they did extensive work to pull it away, he said, I think we're fine. We did not get any suspension damage. Then Richard Childress came on the radio before the restart and told Kevin to be very careful with his RPMs. We're very edgy with this package we're running here. No doubt referencing what happened to his teammate, Jeff Burton.
Good point. Thanks, Alan.
That is an extremely good point.
Denny Hamlin, the race leader. So he's got his 5 bonus points. Gordon runs 2nd. Then it's Elliott Sadler, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, and Kenny Schrader. Just past the halfway mark here in the Subway 500. He's from Virginia, Denny Hamlin. He's racing at Martinsville, and he just took the lead from Jeff Gordon through the field when we come back. NBC's got a big lineup Monday night, starting with Deal or No Deal. Then it's Heroes, followed by Studio 60. 3 all-new shows Monday, starting at 8, 7 Central on NBC. That's Studio 60. That's Don't Miss TV right there.
I was thinking of Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's good, too. Studio 60 has good acting and good writing. A lot of fun to watch. Hey, Denny Hamlin out front of Jeff Gordon. We said we'd take you through the field, and we will. And Alan, you're going to be busy right here at the top.
That's okay. I'll try and handle it. Denny Hamlin out in front for the first time in this race. 5 bonus points for the championship. Important for one of the title contenders. And as I reported just a minute ago, really feels like he has a great handling race car. Not much new out of Jeff Gordon's team in this last stretch of the race. He did not pit onto that lap 243 caution when Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. did. Gordon running 2nd right now. They're still working on the handling of this car to try and get it better. Marty?
Alan, when Kurt Busch said he wanted to get better on Sundays, this is exactly what he imagined. It's been a quiet, very solid day for the 2 teams. They've kept it in the top 5 for most of the afternoon long. A little bit tight to the center and off of the corners. The last Martinsville pole winner to win a race here, Jeff Gordon. This race 3 years ago. Kurt Busch would like to change that today. Dave?
Pretty good day for Elliott Sadler. They played the strategy game twice. Josh Brown, the crew chief, has chosen to put only 2 right side tires on Elliott's car. The last 3 cautions, they've stayed out. That's how they moved their way out. Matt?
Kyle Busch working on his 2nd straight top 5 here at Martinsville, running in the 5th position. Now he's tried a little page out of Jeff Gordon's book. He's backed up his corner. He's gotten out of the gas to try to let it roll through the center earlier and actually rolled too fast, and he hit the car in front of him. Passed along an apology, but it says the car is much better now. Marty?
Matt Kinstrader might just be having the best day of his 2006 season. He started 10th. He is currently running in 6th, and I don't think they've run further back than 10th. Michael McSwain really making a difference on this team. Their last 4 stops, no changes on the car. Alan?
You know, it's nice when a guy's had a tough year to see him have some success on the racetrack. That's the story for Jeff Green today in this 66. A lot of finishes just around 20th all year for this team. Our crew chief change this week. Jeff Green's been in the top 10 most of the day. Kyle Petty in the top 10 as well. His team took just right side tires on a pit stop at lap 205 to gain some track position. And as we've seen with some others, Kyle holding that track position on the track. Matt?
Just inside the top 10 there is 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Now, his crew chief, Chad Knaus, they're making a lot of conversation back and forth about pitting while some others stayed out. Chad simply said, we're taking the cautious, aggressive approach. So many weird things happen to this team during the chase, crashes, loose tire penalties. They've got some momentum rolling, and you saw the points as they run now a little earlier. This could be a huge day for this 48 team, getting them back in the title fight. Marty?
Well, for the first 200 laps of this race, I should say, Carl Edwards really struggled. In fact, Wally Brown, his crew chief, came on the radio and said, Carl, they tell me if you run this place for 20 or more years, you'll eventually like it. Carl said, that day can't get here soon enough for me. Now, though, the car's doing pretty good up in 10th with a little bit tight race car. Alan?
Matt Kenseth, second place man in the championship, entering the race, standing to gain a lot of ground today with Jeff Burton being retired from the race. Has been running back in the back half of the top 20 for a lot of the day. He stopped at lap 224, then gained spots when others stopped at lap 233 and 243. And so Kenseth right now in 11th. Marty?
Alan, we told you Dale Earnhardt Jr. was not happy about stopping under that last caution. Here's the proof.
The 20's got a left rear flat, so he's coming in. Yeah, well, I didn't hear nothing. You didn't say stay out or nothing, and the leaders are going for pit road, Junior. So, I mean, I need you to tell me something there, not to pit. To pit, I follow the leader. I ain't been counting the laps, so I can't count them in my head.
It's hard to do that, isn't it, Wally? Junior told me Friday, he said it's going to come down to mental lapses of whether or not we can win this championship. We have to stay focused. They're trying to do it. He's in 14th. Dave?
Right behind him in 15th, Marty, is Casey Kane in the 9 car. He pitted twice recently, but stayed out during the last caution. Took 4 tires each of the times he did come down pit road. They're patiently working on that car, making a turn through the center of the corner. Mark Martin stayed out the two of the 3 previous cautions. He finally came down on the last caution, took on 2 right side tires, and this chaser currently runs in the 18th position. Alan?
And just to follow up on the Kevin Harvick troubles of earlier, 3 pit stops to repair the damage. He has fallen back to 22nd place with some of the stops. He's now moved up a couple spots. 20th place right now for Kevin Harvick. And trouble.
Matt Kenseth,
Right
next up,
Junior.
points leader, spins
And keeps going.
You know, some days it's just your day, you know. Looks like maybe the 07 made contact.
Got 4 tires on it here.
Crew chief Robbie Reiser.
Yeah, he's mad at somebody because he was in a hurry to get somewhere. Then he stuck his hand out the window, so it was probably the 07 car of Clint Boyer.
A likely suspect.
You have a winner.
That's right about where Gordon did the spin and win, isn't it? Got turned around here by Jimmy Spencer, as I recall. On board with Earnhardt.
Yeah, you can see Boyer got in the back of Matt. Fortunately for Matt, he didn't hit anything.
Bobby Labonte is the lucky dog. While we were going through the field, David Gilliland came to pit road for a tire issue. Dave Blaney was black flagged by NASCAR for smoking. Actually, the car was smoking.
Now then, okay, Jeff Gordon and, you know, Denny Hamlin and these guys, they will probably pit. What do you think? Will Johnson and Junior stay out?
I would think so.
You think?
I would think so.
I think Johnson would come.
You think so? How many laps have they run?
Because he...
I don't know. Junior's in 13th. I bet you they're having that discussion right now.
They've gone about a little over 30 laps.
About 25 laps?
Yeah.
Okay, here we see. There comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Jimmy Johnson stayed out.
Johnson stayed out. Junior stayed out.
I thought so.
Matt?
And doing the opposite of what he did last time, the 48 stays out while his teammate, the 5 of Kyle Busch, making his way down to his pit stall. He cautioned his team to take a look at the right front fender. I might have some damage after getting into someone. He says the car is tight, but both loose off. You can see the wrench in the back window. Going to make a slight crank on the track bar. Try to fix the balance of this race car, AB.
4-tire change for Denny Hamlin. They're also going to try and put a piece of tape on the grill to help the handling of this car. And pretty smooth stop so far. Marty.
Alan Kurt Busch in his car won't turn quite like he would like it from the exit of the middle of the corner to the exit, but it did start turning better late in that run. So they go up a half a round on the track bar and a half or 1 round of wedge in the right rear. Very close race off pit road between the 2 and the 11 cars. Dave?
Elliott Sadler did not want to give up track position at this point in the race, so they only took on 2 right side tires. Something did slow him down, though. Another car pulling into its pit. It was his teammate, Casey Kane. He had to come to a dead stop and then roll off.
Well, we'll sort out the running order when we come back to the Subway 500. Crew Cam BP.
Scott Plattenberger, front tire changer on Carl Edwards 99. And check this out. Those are lug nuts, spare lug nuts that he has stuck to his helmet in case he needs one. Left front is done. Go, Carl.
Just went green here at Martinsville. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not pit. They run first and second. Elliott Sadler, a 2-tire stop, is third. Tony Stewart did come to pit road. He got left side tires under the previous caution, took right side tires this time.
He took left sides when he had the
tire go down.
Tire flat, the left rear tire flat.
Right at the end of the caution period, just before they went back to green.
Boy, this is a huge break.
Oh, yeah.
For Johnson and Jr. because Kurt Busch now has 4 fresh tires, but he has to try to pass the 19 and the 26. By the time he gets to these guys, the tires will be about even. Well, maybe not.
I don't know. He's getting to him pretty quick.
Well,
man. He's
true.
only got 1 car now in between him and the leaders, and that's a 26 car, McMurray.
There's Denny Hamlin in the 11. Working the back bumper of Elliott Sadler.
Man, did you see that 11 car turn and come under that 19 and pass him down the backstretch? Mike Ford, you guys have done a wonderful job on the chassis on that 11.
Jeff Gordon in the 6th spot. Kyle Busch right behind him. Then Casey Kane. Go ahead, Wally.
I'm just saying, they're just working through this traffic, and that's the thing about this time of the race. When you come out of the pits, you've got all these cars that are a lap more down on the inside, and it is tough to get through them. Because even though these guys are a lap or 2 down, they're still going fast, still running competitive times.
You know, that 21 car running up, being on camera all the time is not such a good thing, Bill.
Why is that?
I get hungry every time I see it.
700th start for Schrader today.
700 starts.
Yep.
Well, he's making it a good one, I'll tell you that.
Yep, the 12th driver with 700 or more starts.
Okay, Kyle, what are you going to do now?
Trying to work around David Reagan in that 06. Gordon went one way, Kyle went the other.
Tell you what, good thing for spotters. Without spotters, it would have been a wreck there.
We're not through yet.
You think not?
No. I mean, you see Kyle Busch is right behind the 06 of Reagan, but
can't get around him.
They can't get around him. It's just it's a tough racetrack.
Alan?
Just to follow up on Jeff Gordon. I know a little bit of concern there. He just reported on his radio the back end of his car very, very loose, so not much grip on the rear of the car. And when he made that that report, his crew chief Steve Letarte kind of took his hand and banged on the monitor in front of him and said, ah. Jeff has talked about as the sun has come out and the weather has gotten warmer today that it's really affected his car a lot more than he thought that it would.
Yeah, you would think with the concrete corners it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but apparently it has on the 24.
Matt Kenseth got turned around by Clint Bowyer, bringing out the caution. Kenseth back in the 14th spot.
And guess who's right behind him?
Yeah. And that is fourth position.
Matt has not had a very good weekend here, trying to get himself a top 10. But his crew has had a lot of fun picking on their spotter, Bob Jeffrey. He turned...
Hey, Bob, it's pretty cool. Hey, Bob, it's pretty cool what they did for the race today. They took your age, multiplied it by 10, and that's how many laps they made it.
You must have done really good in school, didn't you?
I've been trying to think of it all day, and that's the best I could come up with.
At least you can think.
I don't know if all guys know that you turned 50 this weekend. 50 years old, holy.
I thought it was 39.
No, Bob, it's 50. Everybody down there on this team told me it's 50.
And they told you to make sure you knew, right?
Exactly.
Matt having fun in the race car today. Here's the race for second. Here's that 2-car you were talking about, BP.
Yeah, looks like those 4 tires are a little bit better right now.
Kurt Busch looking back at Dale Earnhardt Jr. and looking forward at Jimmie Johnson. He's the race leader. 300 laps are complete in the Subway 500 at Martinsville. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series live on NBC. The Subway 500 from Martinsville on NBC is brought to you by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. By Nextel, get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel only from Sprint. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car, call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise, we'll pick you up. And by DirecTV, there's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. Jimmie Johnson continues to lead. Kurt Busch is second, Dale Earnhardt Jr. third, then Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, the top 6 drivers. Now this was under the most recent caution.
Watch the Jackman. Philip G lets the car down and he starts to push the car, and all of a sudden it looks like his leg just collapsed. Alan, is that the Jack wasn't involved, was it?
Yeah, I looked at the team's video of the camera in their own pits, BP, and I can't see that. They have taken Philip G to the medical center here. Joe Custer, the general manager of the team, said it was a left leg injury, and they'll get us more information when that's possible.
Thanks, Alan.
Well, the 48 car and the 8 car did not pit the last time, but you know, it's not really that bad a deal because all cars are going to have to stop one more time. Right. Now, obviously, they've run 40 laps more than some of the competitors. The caution flag, if they make a pit stop, then the caution comes out. That could be trouble. But if everything stays green, they'll be okay.
You trying to convince me or yourself?
Myself. I think they're going to be okay.
Jimmie Johnson in the 2006 chase for the Nextel Cup started with some issues at New Hampshire. Hard into the wall.
Dover has an engine go bad.
They had that tire get away on that pit stop.
At Kansas.
Talladega here.
Talladega, yep. I'm sorry, Kansas Snake, but Talladega going for the lead on the last lap.
And look at him now. He's third in the standings, 37 points out of the lead.
And Kansas, he ran out of gas with 4 laps to go, or made a pit stop, I should say, with 4 laps to go.
It's a fuel mileage situation.
Yeah.
Matt Kenseth, the current championship leader. Tell you what, this is like a Teflon team. They just keep coming back and coming back. That 48 bunch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs third. Marty's watching that car.
He's trying to chase down that 48, and I asked Tony Eury Jr. about the decision to not pit there. He said we really didn't have a choice. They were way back in the field. He said, besides, we're better on older tires than most of the cars around us. So this should cycle out. And like BP said, everybody has to stop one more time. We'll be in good shape. We just want to be in position with 100 to go. That's our whole goal today.
Well, you're right, Marty, because the last lap, he was the quickest car. So his car is working pretty good on the older tires.
Update on Mark Martin from Dave.
And Bill, he currently runs in the 14th position. And Wally, you know, actually I'm going to play some tape here, so please don't respond yet. You know you have to drive your car differently when you're working different strategies. And right now, Mark's got his car worked back in the pack. Here's what he had to say about his race car.
I don't know if we're going to be able to recover from this track position, Pat. Just don't have the brakes to run like that. But I just can't run with them. We were in so good a shape there before, you know.
He's frustrated because he's back in the pack now and he has to race his car harder and use more brake versus just cruising around, and he doesn't think he's competitive that way.
Yeah, when you're in the back in traffic, in order to pass these cars or trying to get up beside them, you use more brakes. You try to out-brake the guy, and that's where you're using up your equipment more. If you're out front or you're racing like he is right now, you just kind of float the car down the corner, you use the brakes, you're a lot easier on the equipment. So that's what he was talking about when he was in the pack. You got to use your stuff up more.
As you said at the very top of the show, the cars are so even. This racetrack becomes like a road course, and out-brake them in the corner is about the only way to pass or knock them out of the way.
Right.
Mark Martin runs in the 14th spot behind Harvick in front of Kenseth. Matt?
One trend that the 48 team noticed in final practice, the car was so stout on older tires. Like Marty mentioned, the tire wear is almost non-existent. You look at the truck race here yesterday, Jack Sprague went 170 laps on his left and 200 on his right. So this team knows they can go quite a ways on tire wear and not have an issue. And Jimmy says, in one word, the car is awesome.
Jimmie Johnson came in here 146 points out of the championship lead. Right now, he's 34 points out of the lead. The leader on the track, Jeff Burton, is out of the race. Benny, what did you say about how well Ken Schrader's day was going?
I shouldn't have ever said anything, and he is hot. Yeah. He is hot.
This happened just a moment ago.
Now, Schrader's had 700 starts. Is he going to? No, he's not going to throw his helmet.
No, you know why? Because he has to pay for it.
Yeah, he ends up paying for those paint jobs.
But he's going to tell somebody just how angry he is.
I believe he's going to be
he's got a weapon.
Oh, wow.
He's got a bumper bar.
Maybe he's just going to pick it up and walk across the track.
Maybe that's the deal. Yeah, I guess he is.
I bet he's going to leave it somewhere.
Yeah, he's going to leave it in a certain pit.
His. Okay, now we can show you what happened.
All right, if you go down straight away, you go into turn one, the 06 runs into the back of him as you're turning into the corner. You don't really want to do that because you'll crash a guy if you hit him like that.
And then you might get another guy, too.
And then you'll get a few other people involved in the wreck. And Kenny was running, you know, this is the bad part about it. You know, Reagan is 3 laps down. Kenny Schrader is running in the top 10. You just took out a guy in the top 10. So, man, I know you're learning, but got to be careful.
And Schrader was trying to work around him leading up to that, too.
Yeah. No, there's no call for that. Sorry.
Matt.
And the 48 Jimmie Johnson already in. Bill, they've already completed work on the right side. Chad Knaus calling for a small air pressure adjustment for Jimmy. He was having a great run out front to AB.
Denny Hamlin will come in. They'll make a 4-tire change here. Going to make a track bar adjustment. See the wrench going in. Half a turn down to try and help the handling on that car. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. running third. They said now this is a no-brainer. We'll communicate well this time. You're coming to pit road. 4 tires and no changes to the chassis. This worked out perfectly for the 18. They'll cycle back in with everybody else. Dave?
Casey King gives up 7th position. They take on 4 for perhaps the last time. No chassis adjustments for Casey.
Field works its way off of pit road. What'd you say the fuel window here was?
Well, about 160 laps. When they go back to green, they're about to have 170 laps.
We'll see what happens. Only 166 to go right now, and we'll even try and find Ken Schrader and talk to him, and that should be entertaining as well. 338 laps complete in the Subway 500. Let's take a look at our DLP Picture Technology race recap. Jeff Burton came in as the championship leader.
Yep, damage to the hood, knocked the pins out, they taped it up, they started overheating, and eventually they lost the motor.
And there he goes to the garage area, and they were not able to repair the car.
Out of the race in 42nd position, Kevin Harvick, his teammate.
Gives a lot of damage to the left front fender when he makes contact with the 72 of Mike Skinner.
They made repairs to that, warned him to watch his RPMs. Harvick currently scored 11th.
And Matt Kenseth goes around. Yeah, it was Boyer that got into the back of him, but he didn't hit anything, so he's still in good shape. Matt's in 16th right now, sorry.
He is. All right, this will be fun. Marty?
Yeah, I'm going to dive into the middle of this. Michael McSwain obviously venting some frustrations to Ken Schrader. They had a terrific run going today. That had been going on for a while, hadn't it, Kenny? You and Rager.
I moved him earlier. I moved him at Dover, and I moved him. I didn't wreck him. And, you know, you'll have that when you're a couple laps down and racing with the guys that aren't. You'll get that if you stay up there in the middle of it and race it, but he just paid me back, no problem. The rest of the places are pretty fast this year.
you grabbed a pipe, and I can't tell whether you missed him or didn't see him go by.
No. I'm not going to get fined over this deal. It's already been a bad enough day.
And obviously, they had a very good run going today, and a lot of frustration down here with the 21 team, and rightfully so, Wally.
Why didn't we think of that when it comes to money? Schrader wasn't going to throw that pipe. I completely overlooked that.
Kurt Busch is the race leader, then Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, Kyle Petty, who took 2 tires on his stop, Elliott Sadler, and Tony Stewart, the top 10.
All right, the 2-car, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8-car. Can they catch him? Can they get by? They've all changed tires. Who has the best setup now with 4 fresh tires? Don't you know Roy McCauley, the crew chief on this 2 cars, eating his heart out?
It always seems to work that way, doesn't it?
He's back home on suspension from NASCAR, watching this on TV.
You sure he's not in the infield somewhere? All right, I guess there's no infield, but
I guess he might be in a suite around here someplace.
Marty, looks like Junior's car is pretty strong.
Very, very strong, Wall. And if we go to the end here with the green flag run, they'll be very happy. And under the last caution, Junior was rallying the troops.
Get on the box and do some call making. Let's go. 4 tires right here. Hit those up. I don't worry about that. I ain't got time to think about it. I don't even know where my next race is. I just get in and drive the set of it. Yeah, you do a great job of it.
Wally, that's what you ought to say to Bill. Get up on that box. Make some calls, Bill. Time to go.
Hey, how about Junior and we'll get back to that story. Caution is out.
Oh. Mike Skinner. Looks like he has the engine fired and a lot of damage to the rear of that car. A lot of damage.
Bobby Labonte was the lucky dog under the last caution. Jamie McMurray, the lucky dog here. He will come around and be the 25th car scored on the lead lap. Early look, it's already underway.
Oh.
But the 96 might have had something to do with that.
That would be my guess.
Kurt Busch won the race off of pit road. He is the race leader at Martinsville. 346 laps complete. 154 to go in the Subway 500. Still under caution here at Martinsville, so we can work in our Wrangler 5-star finish. Rusty Wallace driving that 2-car. Martinsville, April 18th, 2004. Rusty with his 55th career victory. It was also his final win. Snapped a 105 race winless streak. It was his 25th career short track win and his 7th here at Martinsville. Our Wrangler 5-star finish. Right now, that car Rusty used to drive, driven by Kurt Busch, and he's the race leader after a pit stop of just 13.55 seconds. Time to pay off our singular race talk question.
If he's in it, he wins it, BP.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can tell you, we just need to say, okay, Junior's going to win.
If Junior's in it, it's just automatically we know who.
Everybody vote for second place and see who wins.
Yeah.
Because any popularity contest, Junior is going to win.
And that's his only victory of the season on the short track at Richmond. Brian Vickers, Jamie McMurray, Joe Nemechek, and Bobby Labonte, the only lead lap cars that pitted.
And McMurray was the lucky dog on that last caution, I believe.
And you believe everybody's good to reach the finish there?
I believe they are. I think they go the rest of the way.
See how it works out.
Two guys clear. Now Earnhardt clears the 10-car Briggs. These guys don't go racing.
Kurt Busch, something happened to the 2-car. I guess he just got loose in the middle of the corner, and Johnson goes by.
It's for the lead. Johnson has it. Kurt's going to try and get it back, but Earnhardt Jr. is going to try and take that second spot.
I was watching back. I wonder if there was contact or something. I don't.
But that's the thing. If you slip or whatever happens on a deal like this, you have a possibility of losing a lot of spots because all these guys go down to the bottom and they're nose to tail. Kurt Busch is just wishing there was a hole that he could get into right now.
Denny Hamlin trying to take that position. That's the race for third. Hamlin. So chasers run first, second, and third right now. Allen.
Hey guys, I've heard you.
And we got one going around. Sorry, Alan.
Then over here, turn 2.
Beat David Reagan.
Out. Caution is out.
They were 3 abreast. This started out as 3 abreast going down the straightaway with Reagan, Stewart, and somebody else. And I just kept watching, going, okay.
Cut tire, left rear.
Here it comes. I think Stewart was right in there. But yeah, here we go. 3 abreast. Stewart gets by Reagan. The 4-car Ward's on the outside. He slows. The 06 slows down. The 19 gets underneath them. Tries to get underneath them. That's how it all started. Just a mess.
Elliott Sadler. Well, 3 wide here is never good.
No.
David Reagan is getting an education in short track racing at Martinsville today. He's on board with Harvick.
He goes down the corner, and there's a contact between Sadler and 19.
Go high, stay in the gap. Caution out, caution out.
Nice job by Harvick. He runs in the 10th spot. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader. You're watching the Subway 500 under caution at Martinsville. Getting ready to go green, but this was after the last restart.
Kurt Busch, the 2-car, is the leader. He goes in turn 3, and in the middle of the corner, Wally, he just gets so loose, he can't stay down there. Johnson goes by for the lead.
And Jimmy Johnson has the lead, and the green is back out at Martinsville.
And meanwhile, the 2-car Kurt Busch has gone back to the 4th position. Denny Hamlin, 11, also got by the 2.
Okay, we watch this unfold here.
Hey, Matt.
BP.
Can these guys make it? Can Jimmy Johnson make it the rest of the way?
Well, they've told him the last 2 cautions to conserve fuel. That kind of gives you a hint. Now, Chad Canals would love to pit BP around lap 400 to 425. And if you look at the history over the last 6 years, everyone is in it on average.
Sorry.
Kurt Busch.
Right side damage.
I'm sorry about that, Matt, but he tried to turn under the 10 car as he came up.
Yeah,
Marty.
Well, guys, what I was going to say on that one restart where he got passed under the car right after the restart for the lead, he said the car is extremely loose. He was amazed that one adjustment, they went up on the track bar 1 round, changed the car completely. Said the car was a little tight on the run before, 1 round up on the track bar, and he couldn't drive it, and obviously 2 loose there as well.
Well, now what happened that time?
Help, BP.
I'll show you what happened on this time.
Full turn.
When he comes off turn 4, he tries to turn under the 10 car, and the 10 car tries to turn to get down on the bottom, let him go by on the outside.
And he actually hit Kurt Busch's right front.
Yeah.
When he hit the right front, it spun Kurt Busch around. Lots of contact, see?
Yeah. Actually, the 10 car was not trying to come down the hill. He just made contact with him in that right front.
Now on board with Kurt.
See, Riggs got a little bit loose there.
Car just got us coming off a full.
I don't like that sound, do you? I really don't like that sound.
Dale Jarrett was the lucky dog under the previous caution. Ward Burton is the lucky dog under this caution. And this is our 12th caution. The record here, 19.
Oh, please, please, let's don't set any records in that department today.
This race a year ago.
But this is the time of the race where you get more and more yellows now.
Because we're approaching that magic 100 lap mark.
Get position of 100 to go. That's right. Jeff Gordon on pit road. He's not going to stop anymore after this stop.
Gives up the 4th position.
Alan, is that right? This is the final stop?
Yeah, I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, under that last caution, Benny. He said we made a huge adjustment on the last stop. We've got time to back off it a little bit if we need to on our final stop. He said we will stop one more time. Now, this can work to his advantage because the next time when everybody else pits, he'll stay out there. Then they just have to hold him off on a little bit older tire. The 4-tire change here for the 24 car and air pressure adjustment for Jeff Gordon. I'm listening to the conversation his crew chief is having with the driver, and they're checking the left front fender. A little bit of damage there, and they went back to check a lug nut on the right front, which not a bad idea since there's no pressure from behind on pit road.
And they've got plenty of time to do it because he's got pit road all to himself. Interesting strategy move by Steve Letarte and 7-time Martinsville winner Jeff Gordon. See how it plays out. Working caution number 12 in the Subway 500. Field a half a lap from going green. Here's our Allstate Good Hands Driver Award. Give it to Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, avoiding traffic. Gets around Elliott Sadler and goes on his way. Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. 129 to go. Jimmy Johnson, the race leader. Then it's Earnhardt, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Kasey Kahne.
Sitting in 7th spot right there. Pretty good run for those guys.
Fantastic run.
Jeff Gordon pitted under that caution. So did Elliott Sadler, Clint Bowyer, Dale Jarrett, and Scott Riggs.
And Jeff Gordon restarted in 23rd position.
Got 128 laps to work his way back to the front. There are 25 cars on the lead lap.
Yep, there goes the position. He goes by Elliott Sadler. Talks about Kyle Petty. Guess who visited Kyle Petty Wednesday at Victory Junction Yankee?
The chief.
That's right. President Bush stopped by. Had to make Kyle, I'm sure Kyle and Patty extremely happy for that to happen. There he is.
Runs in the 7th spot in the 45 car.
Now, Matt, what about the 48? He's not going to stop anymore, is he?
BP, now we've got that last caution of 48. It's good to go on fuel, but if you look at past history, the last 6 years, everyone has pitted on average around the lap 423 to 425 range. So to get a caution, look for the 48 and some other guys to hit pit road for some tires, but they are good to go on fuel. Marty?
Matt talked to Tony Eury Jr., crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He said, we are not coming back down pit road. We are good to go to the end. Jr., though, says his car has changed. He's now spinning the tires coming off the corner. He doesn't have the forward bite he had earlier. He said, that's a definite disadvantage because I cannot be aggressive with the gas like I would like to. Alan?
Mike Ford, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin in that 11 car, told me they did plan on stopping one more time in this race. We'll see if their strategy was changed a little bit by what Jeff Gordon just did, but he says they are planning on stopping one more time.
This is the race for second. Earnhardt has it, Hamlin wants it, and wants it bad.
And it looks like he's about to take it. But meanwhile, Kyle Busch is right behind this twosome. So if Junior loses one spot, he's going to lose 2.
Yep, you're right.
Oh!
They're running awfully close.
I just knew Junior's going to turn left. And
Chasers running the top 5 spots. Casey Kane is behind this battle in the 5th position.
Boy, that's frustrating when you're on the outside here, because you gotta drive the car twice as hard in a situation like this than the guy on the inside, because you've got less grip out there on the high side. So you got to hustle the car a little bit more. Got to get the corner a little bit deeper, not to give the car on the bottom an advantage.
And Marty, this Junior's driving as hard as he possibly can.
Man, you know, he really wants to get around his good friend Denny Hamlin. I actually talked to Junior about using that highline. He said, I use it late in the race here in April, but it's really not good, or prime as he called it, until the last 100 laps of the race. That's when enough rubber is up there and you can really use it to your advantage. Obviously, though, he's working it as hard as he can, trying to get around that 11, or more importantly, stay in front of the 5.
Yeah, because the 11's gone.
Yeah, the 11 finally got by him. And it was just really a matter of time. When you get a guy on the bottom like that, especially as good as the 11 car Denny Hamlin's been working today, it's tough to hold a guy off.
We've talked many times about how much success Denny Hamlin has had in that 11 car. 31 races this season, 15 top 10 finishes. In his 38 career starts, he has 18 top 10s.
Oh, the 29 car, some smoke in that left front fender. Has he made contact again and knocked the fender in on the tire?
It's Matt Kenseth in the 17. There's Harvick smoking left front. Alan?
Trying to find out who he hit, but yeah, Kevin Harvick has pushed that left front fender in again. Now, they had knocked the brace out from under that fender in the earlier incident when they had the problem in the left front damage back at lap 233. So that fender is not as strong as it was at the start of the race to keep it off that tire. That's not good here.
No, not at all.
And that tire's not going to be nearly as strong as it was before he started rubbing that fender either.
Right now, Harvick 5th in the championship standings, 41 points out of the lead. 32 of Travis Kvapil off the pace. Looks like he'll be headed back to pit road. There he goes. And right to the garage, actually. Jimmy Johnson out front of Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, and Casey Kane. 115 to go at Martinsville. We'll see how this one plays out. Next Sunday night at 8 Eastern on NBC, it's a matchup of some outspoken wide receivers. Terrell Owens of the Cowboys and Keyshawn Johnson of the Carolina Panthers. Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tonight catch up on all of the day's NFL action with the Football Night in America, guys. Tonight, 7 Eastern on NBC.
Well, I hate to root against America's team, but meanwhile, go Carolina.
There's no cheering in the press box.
I'm sorry.
Jimmy Johnson, the race leader. Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, the top 5. Mark Martin has worked his way up to the 7th spot. Tony Stewart is in 6th. Maybe something developing on Jeff Gordon's ride. Alan?
Well, you guys are noticing from upstairs a little smoke perhaps coming off that 24 car. I just talked to the crew chief, Steve Letarte. They have had a little bit of contact with another car. He said it's not a bad problem at all. He said right now we're just saving our stuff, waiting for everybody else to pit so we can get our track position back. Gordon up to 21st now. He restarted 23rd.
And just to clarify, BP, you don't think those leaders are coming back to pit road?
No, I don't. I think they're all done. Because they see Jeff Gordon restarted, what did I say, 23rd? He's now 21st. Boy, it's a struggle. Wally, you said at the very top of the show, it's hard to pass at this joint.
Right now with 100 laps to go in that area, track position is the king, because it's just so hard to pass cars. You want that track position. That's what's going to make the difference.
And Jeff Gordon is running in 20th position, 181 points back of the leader. He's still playing.
Oh, there. Jamie McMurray is around.
Comes our next caution.
And by gosh, the caution flag is out. McMurray continues on his way.
So who hit him?
We are looking at caution lucky number 13. Let's find out, BP.
Hey, Bobby Labonte.
43 car.
24 right there, gets through it.
Just barely. Boy, they snap around quick when you get contact, don't they?
A lot of good donuts today.
You know, I was just thinking, how in the world did anybody behind him see anything? That's what they saw, nothing.
Pit road will be open when the leaders get there this time. They're just coming off of turn 2.
This would be the moment of truth.
Okay, yes, sir. This is the moment of truth. Jimmie Johnson looks like he's coming to pit road. He looks like he's coming to pit road.
And he is.
Denny Hamlin is. They all are coming to pit. I don't believe it, Matt, but they're coming to you.
BP, that was the game plan all along. If we got a caution around lap 400 and Jimmie Johnson working his way in, says the car took 2 heat cycles for it to finally tighten up. So Chad Knaus is going to do a combo platter of adjustments. Air pressure, they were talking about doing a chassis adjustment. They also said they only need about 3 seconds of fuel. Got that in. Good stop going by the 48 guys, and he is down and away, AB.
Watch for the Denny Hamlin team to pull the fender right there away from the right front tire after that contact he had with Dale Earnhardt Jr. earlier. A 4 tire stop here, and they're hoping to gain a couple positions off pit road. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. came to pit road, Alan, because first of all, everybody else did, but secondly, because he was starting to lose the grip on the racetrack. As we told you, the car just did not have the forward bite it had earlier. They go down half a round on the track bar, and he'll lose a lot of spots here on pit road as well.
And they work their way off of pit road onto the backstretch. Crew cam action, BP.
Scott Plattenberger jerks that tire off, tightens the lug nuts, around to the left side. Come on, get the jack up. Come on, let's go. There we go. Down that goes the jack. Away goes Carl.
Ford is looking for the ultimate racing fan to have the ultimate fan experience at Homestead Miami Speedway. Log on to racetothedream.com for your chance to win an experience that includes tickets to all 3 NASCAR races in November, being an honorary starter for the Ford 300 Busch race, and a pace car ride. Racetothedream.com. Field coming out of turn 4. Bobby Labonte is the race leader.
Green flag, green flag.
Bobby Labonte, Casey Mears, Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer, Elliott Sadler, Dale Jarrett did not pit. 2 tires for Casey Kane, Kyle Petty, and Jeff Green. Then Jimmie Johnson back in 10th.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 13th. These guys are going to really struggle to get back to the front. They're going to need a couple of caution flags to make it.
I agree. Track position, we talked about it, is king right now, and they don't have it.
Tony Raines in the 96 car, a fuel-only stop.
And this has worked into Jeff Gordon's plan very nicely to this point.
Top 5 cars trying to break away.
Nemechek, the 01 car, is a couple of laps down after he was blacked by NASCAR for that TV panel, or the rear panel, dragging behind the 01.
And this is how you try and work your way back to the front.
Oh, wow.
Kyle's not going to like that.
No, he's not.
That is for position.
Especially for a rookie.
Yeah. We've seen that a couple times today, haven't we?
Kyle had the 10th spot. Hamlin 11. There's Junior behind Hamlin.
Kyle Busch back there in 5. Tony Stewart's back there.
These guys have 90 laps to try and get their way back to the front. Hamlin's around the 45. Alan?
You know, it's funny, as I'm watching this, Bill, Mike Ford, Denny Hamlin's crew chief, driver of the 11 car, sat in his hauler with him this morning, and he told me he gets very concerned about these strategy races here at Martinsville because it's easy for a crew chief to take a 5th place car and make it into a 15th place car just by being on the wrong end of all these different pit maneuvers. Let's see, wasn't Hamlin running 2nd a little while ago?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And that time by 9th, Alan.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do and not a lot of laps.
Elliott Sadler is very slow along the front stretch. He'll try and make it to the garage. Jeff Gordon has worked his way to the 3rd spot. Then it's Bowyer and Jarrett, Kane in 6th. Elliott Sadler has taken his car to the garage.
Jimmie Johnson trying to work underneath the 9 car and doesn't pull it off. Dave, what's going on with Elliott Sadler's car?
Well, great strategy turned bad on lap 356 caution. They knew they couldn't make it, so they stayed out one more time, got that same caution break that Jeff Gordon did. They were going to be good to go on fuel, had the track position, motor gone away. Those were Elliott's words.
That's a couple engines that the folks at Evernham lost this weekend. Scott Riggs, the 10 car, in practice on Saturday morning, blew an engine.
What does that make you wonder?
Well, and Ray Evernham told me that they are trying some things in the 10 car for next year. That was a much different engine combination than Casey Kane has in the 9 car. And obviously it didn't work too good.
There are 24 cars on the lead lap now. The last one, Ward Burton, who was the lucky dog under the most recent caution.
You know, Jimmie Johnson right now is hung up behind Casey Kane. And this is where those laps just start disappearing, BP. And if you don't get around these guys and get going, you're going to lose your opportunity.
This is for position. The 9 under Dale Jarrett, the 48 behind him. Matt.
Bill just taking it one spot at a time, trying to knock off a car, being patient and save his car as far as keeping the fenders on it. Remember, this guy led 195 laps here in the spring and had the lead with less than 30 laps to go, and then fell from first to third. But Jimmy said on the radio under the last caution, this is going to be a big day for us championship points-wise. We don't want to spoil it. We're going to drive smart, but try to drive aggressive and get to the front, Dave.
Matt, Casey Kane did stop under the last caution as well, took on 2 right side tires and filled it full of fuel. The last point is the key. They could not have made it to the end. Crew Chief Kenny Francis, excuse me, team director, kept staying out because they were not in their fuel window. This obviously put them there. They hope that Casey can race with the leaders now.
Well, they got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Kyle Busch is now back to 10th, only 123 back. They're all 10 playing.
See where it is in 80 laps.
Yeah.
That's when it matters. Jeff Burton came in with a championship lead. He's out of the race, scored 42nd after engine failure.
Boy, that 11 car just rolls through the center. So nice.
And he's down on power, so when he jumps back in the throttle, he doesn't spin those rear tires like these guys do that have all 8 cylinders working properly. If you just joined this, the 11 car has a miss off the corner that's taken some of his power away, and it seems to once again be helping Allen.
And Benny, he jumped on the radio just before that last pit stop. Denny Hamlin did, and said the engine is the best it's been all day. So the intermittent problem, the hit or miss, it's not missing as much as it was before, and it's hitting a lot right now. Marty?
Allen, here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to charge his way back up to the field. Restarted 13th, trying to get back into the top 10. Tony Eury Jr. told Jr. on the radio, listen, we're going to eat them up. They have old tires. I would say they better start eating. Jr. only in 8th, but he also knows those 2 cars in front of him are chase cars. Valuable points lay right ahead of him.
And he's 5 seconds behind race leader Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, what these guys like Earnhardt have to hope is a caution comes out, erases that 5 seconds, they bunch back up, then on the restart, now Junior's got a shot. But to try to chase Bobby Labonte down right now and eat that 5 seconds up is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, Junior has one advantage. He's very easy on brakes. Those guys are, the crew members just keep raving about how well he does on brakes. Some of these guys will have these brakes smoking before the end of this race.
Well, why don't you give us a little lesson on brakes there, BP?
All right, well, brakes, always a story at Martinsville. Let's go inside our Home Depot garage and talk about brakes and what they do to try to keep them to live for 500 miles. The first thing is cool air. You see when you apply the brakes, how that rotor just turns red. If you didn't have cold air coming in to cool them off, the brakes would only last just a few laps. There you see the green, where air comes in and keeps those things cool. And for some guys, the brakes would only last about 10 laps if you didn't use cool air.
Our Home Depot virtual garage. There's the famous 43. Bobby Labonte, a past winner here in April of 2002. Has 12 top 10s in the last 23 races at Martinsville. Finished 4th here last October.
And I tell you what, I'm impressed with the run Jimmie Johnson, that 48 car, is having today. He is in 4th position right behind Jeff Gordon.
Now he's in a position where he could catch the leader. He doesn't have a lot of cars in between him and Bobby Labonte. He's clicking off the fastest laps of the race every single lap. So he does have a shot of running them down. That's if he doesn't get hung up behind his teammate, the 24.
And because that's when he can't move out of the way.
And we saw that earlier, those guys racing for a position. Alan?
Jeff came on the radio before, wanted to know where Jimmy was running on the track. This is just a couple laps ago. He was told he's right down on the bottom, right up against the curb. Don't think Jeff can keep his car there, and that's something he's concerned about right now. Matt?
Remember the fresher tires in the 48 Jimmie Johnson. This is the guy at the end of final practice that simply said on the radio, I love this place, when talking about Martinsville. Their car was so good on long runs in final practice. It's been good all day. He has been up front doing what he needed to do to get this team back in the championship fight. And like you said on Friday, it's a no-pressure situation for us for the rest of the season, but they are throwing themselves right back in it. But what a run by the 43 guys up front, BP.
Well, it's good to see that 43 back. You know, for years and years, Richard Petty that drove that 43 car was the king at Martinsville. I don't know how many times he won here, but it was double figures, I'm sure. But meanwhile, this is a great battle. Looks like Jeff Gordon says, well,
I don't know.
Not.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmie Johnson probably thinks it's a great battle right now. I'm sure that he would like for Jeff to cut him a little bit of slack because Jimmy's car is better right now. He's got the faster car, but Gordon's not giving him a whole lot of room to work with.
Well, okay, finally gave him some room. 3rd position, Jimmie Johnson. Give it to him.
And I mean, I think that was a good move. That was a good move for Jeff to do because if the 48 is faster, he'll pull away from Jeff, and Jeff will go, okay, well, he was faster.
He's led 189 laps today, Jimmie Johnson has. Gordon has led 165. Bobby Labonte has led 34 laps in that 43 car. Casey Mears is 2nd, then it's Johnson coming and Gordon behind him.
Denny Hamlin, the quickest lap that time.
Bobby Labonte is using the BP strategy here.
What's that?
He stopped with 160 to go, and I think he'll run out of gas before he stops.
Attaboy, Bobby.
How about it, Matt?
Well, BP and Bill and Wally looking at their fuel, they should be close but okay. And just think about what this team has done this year. Bobby Labonte coming over, throwing in his input, much like Jeff Burton when he went to RCR. Battle up front here, but this team really has come together, and looking at the tracks ahead, Bobby Labonte could not be more excited, working on back-to-back top 10 finishes, had a great run, top 5 last week at Lowe's.
Yeah, regardless if they win or not, yeah, they're going to get a good finish out of this thing today, and they rolled the dice, and that was what they needed to do. But if he looks up in the mirror, he's going to see that 48 car getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, he's not going to be too excited about that, is he?
But he understands there's not very much he can do about it because Paul Andrews, the crew chief, will tell him, well, Bobby, he stopped, has 4 fresh tires, and he's been one of the fastest cars all day.
Labonte leads, 62 to go. 103 races since his last win. It came at Homestead in November of 2003. The 2000 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion, 42-year-old Bobby Labonte. But he's got young Jimmie Johnson charging in his mirror when we come back. 55 laps to go in the Subway 500, and the new race leader is Jimmie Johnson. He just got past Bobby Labonte half a lap ago.
Well, here's how he did it. With tires.
Exactly. 4
and grip.
Fresh tires.
And traction. Just goes underneath them, and Bobby tries to run that high line, and Bobby pretty much knows that it's not going to work. He's going to get past, so he lets him go by clean, jumps back in line, and starts.
Uh-oh, got trouble. Oh, Kyle Busch in the wall, a 5 car. Oh, man, he was running about 10th position.
I think Reagan would be dizzy by now.
That's harsh. Kyle Busch 10th in the chase standings. There's the 06 of David Reagan, and there's Kyle's car.
We're ready.
See the red flag indicating pit road is closed, but Kyle comes in anyway, so they can get as much work done on that car as possible under the caution flag. This is our 14th caution. He's already around by the time we get to it, and there you see Kyle getting a piece of the wall.
And Kyle just simply got too high on the racetrack and could not bring it back down. Looked like Wally.
Watch the 48 team.
Not again. Chad Knaus, the crew chief on that automobile, saying, what in the world? What we got to do to catch a break around here?
Joe Nemechek is the lucky dog. Come around, be the 25th car scored on the lead lap.
I think he's going to still be a lap down. He was 2 down.
Oh, he already came around? Okay,
Yeah.
I was just looking at the scoring. Thank you.
I don't really know what the 48 got to worry about too much. I mean,
just the idea of things.
Yeah.
I mean, he was driving away, and all right, let's see who there's Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth on pit road. Allen.
Well, really not a whole lot to lose, Bill, where they were running with the number of cars that are on the lead lap. Matt Kenseth saying to crew chief Robbie Reiser, I'll do whatever you want to do, but the back end of the car just not hooked up at all. Robbie called him in for a 4-tire stop, Dave.
Mark Martin, according to him, the car not handling very well. He should know he's driving it. 4-tire change for him. Fresh rubber on the 6 car. And they didn't want to come in if they were going to give up all the positions behind him. So they saw people starting to think that way. That's why they came down pit road.
Go ahead, BP. What are you thinking?
What was that all about?
Looked to me like Matt took that position away from Mark.
That's kind of what I thought. On pit road.
He wanted it and he took it.
On pit road.
Jeff Burton came in as the championship leader. He is out of the race, scored in the 42nd position, had a very difficult day. Trouble started early and his race ended early. He ran into the rear of Joe Nemechek's car. This was caution number 1. They had to tape down the hood because the hood pins got knocked out. Got knocked off the lead lap by Jeff Gordon. And then the motor went south. Gordon got out. The car was out. Came in as the championship leader. Right now he's 4th, 48 points back.
Well, Matt Kenseth was the leader, but he just made a pit stop. We'll back up about 10 spots. That might change. Jimmy Johnson, check that out. Gained 5 spots today. AB.
With Mike Ford, Denny Hamlin's crew chief. Mike, you've kind of fought a couple things all day, and now you're fighting a little bit of track position. Do you have enough to pass those guys in front of you?
Yeah, we've been not 100% in the engine department today. We've had an intermittent miss, but to tell you the truth, I think it's helped us on the long run to be able to save our tires. And you know, we're going to go green to the end here. Don't plan on pitting again. So 100 laps on tires, I think we're going to have a good shot at that 48 car. You know, so we're making the most of it. Track position's been important. We've, you know, opted not to give that up, and it's worked out for us so far.
All right, thanks, Mike. Good luck. To Matt.
Less than 50 to go. Chad Knaus on top of the box talking to his driver real quick. Huge day for you points wise, but I know you've got to like the situation you're sitting in with so many cars behind you that stayed out as well.
Yeah, that's put us in a real good spot. The guys that stayed out behind us, you know, they're committed just like what we are to stay out for the rest of the race. There'll be 47 laps to go when we take the green, and you know, the Lowe's Chevrolet is running pretty well today, and you know, this is a pretty tough day for us emotionally at Hendrick Motorsports, and I wish Mr. Hendrick could be here with us today, but he decided to stay home with his family, as well he should, and hopefully we can bring home this trophy for him. You know, he's a big part of our lives, not just a car owner, but he's a real good friend and mentor to all of us, and we love him a lot, and we wish he was here.
They lost so many friends back in 2004, this race weekend. And Bill, I know that so many people from Hendrick Motorsports has touched so many lives, and I know they'd love to get a W here this weekend.
It's a very special place. Wins here mean a lot to the Hendrick team after what they lost here 2 years ago in a plane crash that took 10 lives.
Green, green, green.
Jimmy Johnson leads. We go back to green.
By the way, Bill, you were correct. Joe Nemechek is back on the lead lap in that 01 car. I could have sworn I looked, he was a couple of laps down, but you're right.
There are 25 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch is the 25th. Matt Kenseth restarted 15th. Mark Martin 16th.
And see, this is where it works really for, you know, to Jimmy's advantage. You can see he's got a good lead now. He's got Denny Hamlin back there and Jeff Gordon are still kind of trapped back there in a little bit of traffic. While they're running side by side. Jimmy Johnson's laying down some good laps, and he's starting to pull away a little bit. Somebody's getting a black flag there.
I think they're unhappy with the way David Reagan tried to line up for the restart in that 06 car.
Yes, that's right. He dove in on the inside of those guys going in turn 3 and passed on the left, and so that warned him. What happened?
Junior got in the back of Casey Kane. Casey Kane got a little sideways, but they both checked up and recovered.
All right, here comes Tony Stewart. He's on the inside of Boyer. Takes away the 8th position.
Marty, how about that Earnhardt car?
Well, I think he's getting a little frustrated behind the wheel. He came on the radio under caution, talked to Tony Eury Jr., said, I'm really disappointed we haven't made the car better throughout the day. And here at the end of the race, the car's really not to my liking. The man who's actually very fast is Tony Stewart, the guy behind him. But Junior, not very happy with this race car right now. A little too tight.
And when you're not happy with the race car, you start to take it out on others.
Yeah, would you say the tougher it is, the rougher it gets?
Yeah.
Well, we're down to 43 laps of tough and rough right now.
Well, see, you're getting to the point now with just 42 laps to go. It's time to win, and you want something to win with. And currently, he doesn't have something to win with, and that's what makes it so frustrating.
Kane behind Gordon, then Earnhardt, then Stewart. Update on the 24 car from Allen.
Bill, you remember how much of this race Jeff Gordon led in the opening part of the day, but it was overcast and cooler then. Jeff was on the radio under this last caution discussing with his crew chief Steve Letarte how the car is just not
trouble. Casey Mears has gone around. Gordon may have run into the back of the 11. Sorry about that, Alan.
I believe that the 38 car, now how in the world that happened is beyond me, but if I'm not mistaken, the 38 of Gilliland ran in the back of 42.
Well, let's see what the video evidence shows.
That's exactly what did happen.
Oh, Gordon over the curb.
Threading the needle.
Yep, Gilliland just gets in the back of the 42, and around goes Casey Mears.
And Casey Mears was running in the top 3, and David Gilliland is 4 or 5 laps down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what these guys are thinking, man. I'm telling you what, when you're that far down, you should be out of the way.
Go high. Right through the middle, you'll be fine.
On board with Kurt Busch.
Ooh, boy, that was close.
One high. Come on, you're cool.
Now watch the 24 dive to the left, over the curb.
I wonder if he's going to be able to keep that spot. I would imagine he might be able to. I think that, you know, Gilliland, David Reagan, I think both those guys, I think they want to race, but they've got to pick better spots to go out and try to drive fast, not around these lead lap cars with 40 laps to go.
And when you're 3 or 4 laps down, too. If you're a lap down, you can almost say, okay, well, they're just trying to, you know, do what they can and get the lap back. But when you're that far down and you start knocking out guys in the top 10, you're not making any friends.
David Reagan is the lucky dog, but he'll still be several laps down.
AB?
With Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. Steve, you led so much of this race earlier, but you haven't been able to stay up there this last run. What's Jeff saying?
No, when the sun came out, we lost a little bit of the handle on the DuPont Chevrolet, but we tried to steal one with a little pit strategy, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out. I'm real proud of everybody here in the pits, though, of keeping their head up with our unfortunate situation the last 3 weeks. But we came here, we're trying some stuff for next year, and it's going to be a successful day either way, and we're going to move on to Atlanta.
All right, thanks, Steve. Steve said they're going to bring a different car to Atlanta than they were planning on bringing, but I'm curious, and now is not the appropriate time to ask him this question while he's trying to focus on the end of this race, but I'm curious if what's happened to Jeff Burton today and what the points will look like might change that thought on giving up on a title this year to focus on next year.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Alan, and I think Letarte kind of answered that yesterday, that if we get back in it, we're
they'll
going to
race differently,
right.
yes. But as long as they're in a situation they came here when they felt like they had no chance to be the next Nextel Cup champion, this year they're going to get ready for 07. But things have changed dramatically today with Jeff Burton finishing 42nd.
Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. seems to be stuck in 7th, guys. Tony Eury Jr., are you running out of time or out of race car?
A little bit of both. I mean, the car's definitely not as good as it was yesterday in Happy Hour, and we really haven't been able to prove it today. So, yeah, we're just trying to get a good top 5. I think we can get by these guys that didn't stop and get tired, so we're just going to see what he's got.
I think I've heard the word big picture about 20 times in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in this situation before, and we took it away from us at Talladega. So we're just trying to get as close as we can. These last 4 or 5 races right here, this is what counts.
And they've been telling Junior, listen, don't worry about this car and don't worry about the leaders. Focus on the big picture. Focus on the championship.
Well, Jeff Gordon did not get that position. We saw him duck down on the apron of the racetrack, and well,
he's pointing to Kasey Kahne.
Yeah, Kasey Kahne's supposed to be lined up in front of him, I believe.
Yeah. There are 8 scoring loops around this track, and it reverts to the one you previously passed when the caution comes out. Still working the caution here on board with Kevin Harvick, who's already clinched the 2006 NASCAR Busch Series championship by a bunch. Those guys are off this weekend. Alan and Wally and our crew will be headed to Memphis next Saturday, 2 o'clock. Next race for the Busch Series, and then we'll see you next Sunday in Atlanta, right?
Yes, you will.
And you have big news next week at Memphis.
I do.
Juan Pablo Montoya will make his Busch Series debut.
There you go.
In the 42.
You have big news because you just told me.
Oh, you didn't know that? Oh.
Well, if you go online to NBCSports.com, you can find out some of this stuff. You can get ready for race day every week, and you can even read Marty Snyder's weekend preview. Not many big words in that, but you can still read it. It's only at NBCSports.com.
And that only takes about 5 or 10 seconds, so you can zip right on through that.
But there is a good article by Benny Parsons this week at NBCSports.com, the meaning of which is?
Well, you know, about cancer and how you find out you have it, how you fight it, and, you know, folks, if you don't feel well, go see the doctor.
Early detection is what it's all about. You're feeling pretty good these days, right?
I feel terrific, Chris. Hey.
34 to go. You ready?
I'm ready.
I thought you would be.
I'm pumped.
Not many guys lined up on the inside.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Junior trying his best to keep the 20 car behind him, and Junior trying to get on the inside of the 9. What's going to happen here now?
Wouldn't want to be the 9?
Whoa. And he's all over. Kasey Kahne is all over Casey Mears.
And Stewart is still there. He's still there.
Almost ran out of room there.
Oh, careful.
Oh, we got somebody spinning.
Boyer's gone around. Caution is out.
Get it cranked up. You'll be all right.
Gil Martin say crank it up and go.
Crank up.
Oops, don't hit the wall though. Marty, what were you going to say?
I was going to tell you, Tony Stewart's been on the saving his stuff for the end of the race plan, and I wonder if he's going to run out of time though, BP. What do you think?
Yes, he is. 31 laps to go.
Yeah, I know, but they were, you know, they're hoping for a top 5 out of this thing. But Junior has been very frustrated with Kasey Kahne. He said on the radio to his crew, listen, he either needs to go or we're going to have to move him out of the way.
Well, that's yeah. Like I said, wouldn't want to be Kasey Kahne.
And Boyer was trying to get alongside Tony Stewart and spun himself out to avoid spinning the 20 car out.
David Reagan once again will be the lucky dog under this caution. That 06 car. There's Boyer going around in the 07 again.
I think Boyer was maybe 2 miles an hour over his head getting in that corner.
This is caution number 16, 3 away from the record.
Come on, fellas.
And we know we got at least 2 more coming. 25 cars scored on the lead lap. Johnson, Labonte, Hamlin, Gordon, Casey Mears, the top 5 in the Subway 500.
Mark Martin, Chase contender, was running just outside the top 15 when he radioed his crew that he thought he might be out of water in the engine, and that was the case. He came down pit road. They used their pressurized system to refill it. Don't know yet whether he's damaged the motor, but Mark said there was no water pressure at all in the motor.
boy, that's just heartbreaking. So Mark returns to the track next Saturday on NBC. We talked about the Busch race coming up from Memphis, presented by Propane. Coverage begins at 2 Eastern. Then Sunday on NBC, the chase for the Nextel Cup continues. Nextel Cup Racing from Atlanta, presented by the Home Depot. That's at 2:30 Eastern time, beginning with the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Tell you, when Mark said last week, it's championships just not meant to be.
It's evidently not meant to be.
Well, he's been, let's see, runner-up 4 times in the championship standings.
And in 1990, lost the championship by 35 points. Yep. And had an infraction back in February that he was penalized at Richmond. Yep. I think he was penalized 47 or 48 points and lost the championship by 35. But who knew at that time that it would eventually cost him a championship?
Only 3 times in 17 seasons has he failed to win a race, and Mark won his first race 17 years ago today at Rockingham.
So they don't have to look it up.
Yep. Doesn't have the original trophy, though. It disappeared.
Did he really?
Yep. So you know what he did? Had a duplicate made.
Good for him.
He says he knows where it is. He says he knows who has it.
Really?
Yep. Alan?
Hey, just want to go back and recap the day of one of our championship chasers, Kevin Harvick. Started this day 3rd in points. Lap 231, got involved in a big multi-car melee in turn 4. Damaged the left front corner on his car right there. Made 3 pit stops for repairs on that one. Got some more damage a little later. Made another pit stop. He's been well back in traffic. As you see Harvick getting caught up in the jam up here. Clunk. It's been that kind of day. Kevin Harvick just hoping to get through today with about the same finish he had here in the spring, which was 7th place. It's not going to work out quite that well, but he's soldiering on.
Yes, he is. 24 laps to see how it all plays out in the Subway 500 under sunny skies at Martinsville. Johnson has just 1 short track win. Came right here 2 years ago. Well, they all bunch up back there.
Oh, trouble! Junior goes around, and I guess he was finally trying to get by the 9. Did not quite make it. Now be coming and get some tires. They won't start. Oh, man.
This is our 17th caution of the race, the most cautions this season.
It's been coming.
18 at Bristol.
He just dove underneath the 9 car when he and the 9 actually gave him room, but the 8 was loose. You can see the car get sideways when he went down in the corner, and he just drove in that corner so deep, the car got loose on him. You see, he jumped on the brakes, the car got loose. He tried staying off of Casey. Casey kind of saw him to the left and drove up the racetrack. So Junior was just trying to do everything he could to get underneath him.
Looks like Harvick made a nice move through traffic. Here's on board with Earnhardt. Listen to.
All right, wheel hopped it too. He jumped on the brakes so hard, trying to outbrake like we talked about earlier, BP, like it's a road course. Right. He jumped on the brakes so hard you can hear that boom, 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 boom. That was the rear wheels getting the wheel hop.
You see Kenseth, Carl Edwards, and Harvick. Wow! What a move by Harvick. He turned left down across the curb. Kevin, way to go.
And Kenseth looks like he just got into the rear of Kyle Petty. There's Harvick.
Stay in front of you. Stay low. Stay low.
He did that self-defense, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he did it self-defense, but still, and came out smelling like a bed of roses.
Alan, how about Kenseth?
And he is really ticked off about the fact that Kevin Harvick is going to be in front of him for this restart. He said, okay, wait a minute. I slowed down coming through the accident scene. He ran through there wide open, and he's going to be in front of me? I don't get it. And several other things.
Some other adjectives. I mean, that's true. You know, when you do something like that, you're avoiding a wreck. I guess it depends where the loops are. Depends when the yellow goes out. And
Junior coming down to you, Marty.
It's a long trip down pit road, too, and being in the 8 pit, you just get the feeling like what next is going to happen to us. I mean, remember the Talladega? They were running, obviously going to finish no worse than 3rd in that race, and they had the problem where Vickers takes out Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here they are running in the top 10 in Martinsville, and they have this problem. Junior said the brakes locked up on him going into turn 3, like you were talking about, Wally. Got a little wheel hop. They're going to restart probably 25th. And not be able to make much damage, I would say, on the field with as few laps as there are remaining.
Yeah, they were, man, he lost a lot of spots there. He was sitting 3rd or 4th, I think, in the championship there when he was running up front, and now he's back to around 7th. So just that little slip up there cost him some spots in the championship.
And these caution laps might help Mark Martin make it to the finish and hang on to a lead lap position at the end. Mark. How about it, Dave?
And they decided not to come in and change your radiator. In Mark's words, do you want me to just race it until it lays down? And he said, by the way, check with Jack before we make that move. Jack Roush, car owner. That's basically the move they made. They did come down and top it off with water one more time just to make sure it is full. But Mark's still not sure if it's going to make it to the end.
It is leaking water, Dave, though?
Well, you know, the crew looked underneath and conferred with NASCAR officials when he came in. And they all shook their head as if to say, we didn't see anything, and the officials didn't see anything either. So then he hasn't been questioned recently by NASCAR in terms of if he's leaking anything. So it's kind of odd. But they believe that it is full again, and okay now temperature-wise. But Mark's worried it's still going to break.
The 18 to go, and we get the green. Mark's in 24th. Earnhardt Jr. right behind him in 25th. Here comes the green. We did confirm with NASCAR scoring that when the caution came out, the 29 was in front of the 17, so that Harvick was in the proper position. Scoring's always done at the previous loop. Bobby Labonte in second. Hamlin working on the outside of the 2 car.
Oh, their 20 car. Tony Stewart got blocked in bad by the 38.
But he takes that position away from Kane by going and making it 3 wide down the front stretch. Talking about Tony Stewart.
Stewart has the position. Kane behind him.
Denny Hamlin goes underneath Labonte now, trying to take that second spot away. I would think he's going to get it.
Racing in his home state of Virginia, Denny Hamlin in that 11 car. Bobby Labonte back to 3rd, Gordon in 4th. Casey Mears has the 5th spot, 15 to go. Jimmy Johnson has clinched the bonus points for leading the most laps. Kurt Busch in that 2 car is 4 laps down. He spun earlier and hit the inside wall along the front stretch. Johnson trying to pull away. Here comes Hamlin.
The last lap, Denny Hamlin was a little bit quicker than Jimmy Johnson, but not fast enough for it to make a whole lot of difference before the end.
13 laps to go. Mears all over Gordon. That's for 4th.
Yeah, Casey Mears has been right on the back bumper of the 24. Tony Stewart has closed up a little bit on these 2 guys.
Boy, Stewart is right there.
And Casey Kane. We can see Hamlin that lap just a tick faster than Jimmy Johnson, but once again, not enough to make a big difference. After all, he's a second behind.
Earnhardt Jr.'s in the 22nd spot. Mark Martin 24th. Mears working on the bumper of Gordon.
And he just wants to touch it. Just touch it enough to where it'll just a little bit slide about the racetrack, but fills that spot. Now Stewart stays close enough to the 42 car. He'll hang the 24 out there. Uh-oh, trouble.
Kenny Wallace goes around off turn 2. Caution flag is out.
Ooh, this is not what Jimmy Johnson wanted to see. This is what Denny Hamlin wanted to see.
Boy, you got that right, Wally.
Caution number 18.
4 tires on.
Update on Denny Hamlin from Allen.
You're going to like this, guys. That caution came out. Denny Hamlin came on the radio and in a very quiet voice said, "He's mine."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I got a big chuckle out of the guys at his pit box.
Boy. Mike Ford is crew chief. Take a look at what happened here.
Looks like McMurray in the 26 got in the back of Kenny Wallace. And
yeah.
See, that wouldn't happen that first 100 laps, would it?
No, they're through. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Earnhardt Jr. was back there. He got through it okay. On board. Dale.
And these cautions don't help Junior. He needed as many green laps as he could because that's the only way you're going to pass cars.
He scored 21st right now. Martin in 24th.
Only 9 laps to go. They're going to have a restart with about 5 to go, and all he can pass is a couple of cars.
Tell you once again that Jeff Burton came in here as the championship leader out of the race, scored 42nd after engine failure. Update on Earnhardt from Marty.
Well, imagine the disappointment for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bill, who was running in the top 10, now back in around 20th. What is he, 21st, Bill? Is that where he's at now?
Yes, sir.
And these guys really have struggled. Junior said it's a different world back here in the back. You fight for every inch. When you're running in the top 5, top 10, sometimes it's a little easier. Guys are a little more forgiving, but back in the back, it's a fight.
It'd be nasty back there.
People are nicer up front.
They are?
They are, yeah.
How would you know that?
That's why I am the way I am.
Okay.
I thought maybe that Junior might have that position on Sterling Marlin but I guess when they went back to the previous loop they'd crossed, that Sterling Marlin was in front of the 8 car. All right, Denny Hamlin said that 48. Mine. We'll see.
He's a home state boy from the state of Virginia.
And that California kid leading the race.
Yeah.
It will be a single file restart.
Inside of 10 to go. Some of the guys on the FedEx crew for Hamlin.
A little nervous.
Denny Hamlin's a 25-year-old rookie in that 11 car. Already has 2 wins this season. Won both Poconos. Started the season by winning the Budweiser Shootout. In his 2 races here at Martinsville, 37th and 8th. Drove 7 Cup races last year, had 3 top 10s, and that pretty much set the stage for 2006. The driving for Coach Joe Gibbs, he brings a lot of talent and a lot of focus to a team that was looking for a guy to put in the seat. Now he's behind Jimmy Johnson with 6 to go. Stewart tries the outside of Mears.
Tries the outside of everybody.
Takes a spot away, does Tony Stewart. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead. Hamlin is right there on the back bumper.
I'm telling you, that 11 car gets through the center better than anybody here right now.
It would mean a lot to Denny Hamlin to win at Martinsville.
He is all over that bumper.
Contact, and here he goes.
48 didn't like that too much. He's going to run him down low to the racetrack.
These are 2 drivers racing for a championship and racing for the win. And Bobby Labonte, a hungry Bobby Labonte, right behind them.
He may come out winning this thing if these guys keep banging on each other. Hamlin on the bottom, 48 on the top. Jimmy Johnson's not giving it up.
Johnson's back in front.
He's going to use that bumper again.
He's going to keep using it. 3 to go. Johnson gets a little bit of distance, but Hamlin will close it up at the turns.
Going to have maybe one more shot at him.
And that's exactly what it's going to be. A shot. Off of 4. 2 to go. Hamlin going to try and make one more run at Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson got off of turn 2 really good that time. Don't know if the 11 is going to be able to get to him, Bill.
Last lap at Martinsville. Jimmy Johnson won this race 2 years ago, but there was no victory lane, no celebration. 10 members of the Hendrick family, Tony Stewart's helicopter pilot, killed in a plane crash on their way to this race. Johnson's always wanted to get back to victory lane here at Martinsville to salute those fallen friends, and Johnson wins the Subway 500 at Martinsville. Strong run by Denny Hamlin and Bobby Labonte.
To drive this race car today.
Jimmy, great job. Great job, pit crew. Great job done by everybody.
It was Chad Knaus. You heard Chad talking about how car owner Rick Hendrick is not at the track today.
Guys, remember how we talked about that. This is for everybody.
Chevrolet congratulates Jimmy Johnson and the 48 Monte Carlo SS on another great Team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR Manufacturers Championships and counting. Chevy, an American revolution. Here's Matt Yoakum.
You see the smile on the 48 crew members' faces. You can hear the driver's voice, what this win means. Can you put into words what this win means for you and this 48 team, Chad?
No, not at all. I mean, for me personally, it's way more than a points battle. It's way more than anything else. You know, I mean, the whole Hendrick organization is such a great group of people. Mr. Hendrick is such a great guy, and damn, I wish he was here with us today so he could go to victory lane with us. But I couldn't be happier for this whole Lowe's team. I mean, these guys are incredible. Had great pit stops. Pit strategy worked out great. It's not like it's in the chip there a little bit, but that was just a great win. I'm so proud of everybody.
What were you thinking when they were trading paint side by side, less than 5 to go?
That's awesome, man. That's racing. That's what it's all about. You know, I'll tell you what, Mike Ford is a great crew chief, and he's done a wonderful, wonderful job with Denny, and I think those guys, you know, are going to be ones to contend with for a long, long time.
Just a traditional day here in Martinsville, trading paint and some good racing. Dave?
Denny Hamlin taking a look at the points after that really quick. Talk about 5 to go. Little shot to the 48. Was that your last chance, last hope?
Yeah, that was the last shot. He had a better car we did on the long run, and that was the only chance I had to get him. So I would love to get that grandfather clock, but it's going to be another day. Congratulations to all those guys. Jimmy did a great job hanging on, and you know, proud of this whole FedEx Freight team. You know, run on 7 cylinders all day long. I mean, it's so
it went great through the turns, right?
It went great through the turns. It just really, really frustrating, and but we'll get him another day.
And Denny, when you had contact with the 48, there was no giving back there, was there? He just simply drove by you back on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, I knew if I cleared him, he was going to do the same thing to me going in the next corner, and odds are I wouldn't have been able to save it like he did. So, yeah, those guys did a great job, and proud of my whole FedEx crew. Mike Ford did a great call there at the end. You know, we had a second-place car, so that's where we finished.
All right, Denny comes home second, still in the chase for the championship. Marty?
Well, Dave Dillon Earnhardt Jr. climbs from the number 8 Chevrolet, and it looked like a sure top 10. And then a little contact. What happened, Junior?
I messed up. I got in the brakes, and the car started wheel hopping down in the corner, and just spun out. Just made a mistake.
You needed green flag laps too at the end, didn't you?
Yeah, it'd have been nice. Man, we just kept having, you know, silly spins, but I guess I see why they're happening, because heck, I was one of them. But I just made a mistake, you know. Can't blame it on nobody but myself, but you know, we were trying to be smart and race for a good top finish, and you know, we got down there at the end, and I got greedy.
As we said, they've been preaching big picture, though. They're 6th in the championship, 94 out. Bill.
Thank you, Marty. 5th win of 2006 for Jimmy Johnson. His 2nd win here at Martinsville, and the first time he's truly been able to celebrate at this track. He's in victory lane. Here's Alan Bestwick.
And here's Jimmy Johnson. Step into the middle here. Jimmy, congratulations. First question, tell me about those last 6 laps.
Short track racing at its best. I have to give Denny a lot of credit for racing as hard as he did. Yeah, I knew being in the lead that I was going to get a shot, and he gave me a shot. And then after that, you know, he took his chance, couldn't get by, and raced real clean after that. So I just don't know what to say. I'm kind of out of breath, and I want to wish Mr. Hendrick and everyone back in North Carolina that was a part of our H501 and 501RH going down a couple years ago. We didn't have a chance to celebrate then because of the loss of our close friends, and we're just so happy to be here today. And it doesn't ease the pain, but it may put a smile on all those families' faces.
And you will get a chance to celebrate tonight. Jimmy, talk to me about when you got shuffled back in traffic by the strategy. Your teammate Jeff Gordon didn't stop. You did with 100 to go. Any worries you were going to be able to get back up there?
I knew that I had a really good car. I thought that it would have been easier on us if we would have stayed out, but I was able to get back through there. This car was so good. I could really abuse it and then still have something left at the end of a run. So just very thankful for Lowe's, all the employee owners in the sport they give us. Hendrick Motorsports working so hard. This car is going to go race in Phoenix. Take it home, cut the body off of it, take it to Phoenix, try to win there.
Don't know if you were aware that Jeff Burton, the leader in the points, had a problem today, but you're now third in the standings, 41 points from the lead with 4 races to go. A thought?
It's a crazy chase. You know, the chase started, we were down and out. Didn't think we had a shot at fighting back. And then luck is a weird thing. The 31's been a very strong team and organization. I have a lot of respect for them. But luck's a weird deal that you can never predict. We've had our bad luck. They've had some now, and fans are going to have a heck of a race to the finish.
Enjoy this victory lane. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jimmy Johnson, winner at Martinsville. Bill?
Thank you, Alan. There's his crew chief, Chad Knaus. Now time for our Nextel post-race report from the Subway 500 at Martinsville. Jimmy Johnson and Hendrick Motorsports celebrates in Victory Lane. That's a phone call from Rick Hendrick, we're told. Matt?
And Bill, a great day for the co-car owner of that 48 team, Jeff Gordon. One car in Victory Lane, and you brought your car home 5th. But did the sun and the traffic, were those the biggest issues for you today, Jeff?
Yeah, I got to congratulate Jimmy and those guys. When that sun came out, you know, my car just got real loose, and man, was his strong. And once he got out front, there's no way anybody was going to touch him. I got to say hello to Rick and Linda and all the Hendrick family. You know, this is a tough day for them, so I'm hoping this can brighten it up a little bit by getting that win for Jimmy. Top 5 for us. Real happy with that. I mean, first half of the race, I was like, if we don't win this, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, once that sun came out and we lost some track position, and holding those guys off is a lot of fun on old tires. I was like, man, if we can just get top 5, I'll be happy. So, you know, Tony, he was kind to me there at the end. He could have really got me, and I had a lot of fun racing with Casey Mears. Can't wait for him to be my teammate next year.
You had a good conversation with him. Was that about all that on the racetrack?
I told him he's far too kind, far too kind. I've seen him not that kind to me before, so it was a lot of fun racing. You know, that's probably because he was outside the chase. If he was inside the chase, we might have hit a little bit harder, but you know what? He's so good here, and you know, I love racing him, and I just like racing at this place. It wasn't much of an outside groove, but what little there was, we tried to use it.
Jeff Gordon comes home 5th today in Martinsville. Dave?
Well, Richard Petty won here 15 times in the 43. John Andretti has a victory here in the 43. And how tough was it to give up the lead late in the race?
Well, really one very tough one. Those guys were a lot faster than I was. I tell you what, we didn't have the best car early on, and we got a couple laps down to prove it. And the guys kept working real hard. We took some rubbers out and made about a bunch of changes on our Cheerios Dodge. And you know, Paul did a great job. I mean, we just held on there at the end. A lot of caution flags helped out, but with 100 to go, we were leading the race, and you know, we can't pass any sole all day, you know, because we just weren't able to. But guys did a good job, and you know, we just came out with a good finish.
Third place finish today for Bobby Labonte. That's the best effort for Petty Enterprises since 2001. Matt?
Caught up with a kindler and gentler Tony Stewart per Jeff Gordon, but you passed a lot of cars over the last 100 laps.
Yeah, we had a really good car all day. We, you know, the way we ended up happy hour yesterday, this at Some Depot Monte Carlo SF wasn't very good. But Zippy, I went to Chillicothe, Ohio to race in the Dirt Track World Championships, and Zippy changed the whole race car around. So considering we only had one spring that we ended up with in happy hour, and the other 3, and the spindle was changed, a bunch of stuff was changed, and ended up 4th today. We had a pretty good run.
Some good racing with you and your buddy there in the 24.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't give me any extra room by any means, but you know, it's like we said. I mean, you know, in the last 5 laps you're gonna lean on each other, but you know, he gave me enough room, and I didn't go in there and just flat use him up. So you know, it's fun when you can race like that and have the confidence in each other that you're not going there to just take somebody out.
Tony Stewart, 4th here in Martinsville.
Thanks, Matt. 5th win for Jimmie Johnson in 2006. He was leading when the caution came out on lap 401, pitted, restarted 10th, took the lead on lap 445, and drove to his 23rd career victory in 179 races. And the second win for Jimmie and Chad Knaus at Martinsville. Our NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR continues from Martinsville, Virginia. Here is a look at the championship standings and just 4 races to go in the chase for the Nextel Cup. And Matt Kenseth is the championship leader. Kevin Harvick 2nd. Jeff Burton falls back to 5th. Earnhardt Jr. is 6th. The top 8 separated by just 99 points. Jeff Gordon is 9th and Kyle Busch back in 10th. A moment ago, Marty Snyder spoke with Kevin Harvick.
Well, last week after the race at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, Kevin and Harvick and I talked about luck. And today, how did you manage to finish top 10?
Now, we beat the other guys behind us, so you know, we got in a lot of stuff today. Our car wasn't that good, and we had great pit stops today, and you know, that's what kept us up there, and we got track position in the end. And once the new tires got off those other guys' cars, you know, we were able to make up some ground on the restart. So good day on pit road, and just keep doing what we're doing.
You guys have recovered so many times here in the chase, and you said 2nd. Is that amazing to you?
It is, after the last you know, 4 or 5 weeks that we've had, and you know, to come here and get in a little accident and you know, come back and do what we did today is what we have to do. So we'll go from there and see what happens.
Kevin Harvick, 36 out of the championship lead.
Thanks, Marty. Here are the unofficial results from today's running of the Subway 500. Jimmie Johnson wins and got those 5 extra bonus points for leading the most laps.
Good run for Jeff Green. He was up really in the top 10, top 15 all day. BP, those guys did a good job.
Yes, they did. Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, couple of Roush cars, 11th and 12th. Tony Raines continues his good running, and Strimmy has a 15th place finish.
And as you take a look at the rest of the finishing order, you see Earnhardt Jr. back there in 22nd. We turn our attention to next week, and Atlanta, a very fast track, and a lot of things can happen there.
Yeah, it's amazing how close this thing is gotten to the championship. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a runaway. You know, these guys are, a lot of them within 100 points right now. It's going to be fun to watch.
And today we saw all the cars fight for that bottom group right on the bottom of the racetrack. Next week in Atlanta, we will see them from the bottom to the top, all over the racetrack, fight for position.
It'll be a lot of fun, just like this one was today. Don't forget, next Saturday on NBC at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, tune in for Busch Series Racing from Memphis, presented by Propane. And next Sunday on NBC, the chase for the championship continues with Nextel Cup Racing from Atlanta, presented by the Home Depot. Coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern with the Bank of America Countdown to Green on NBC. And coming up next on NBC, Supercross like you've never seen it before at the first ever Jeremy McGrath Invitational. Jimmie Johnson gets the win at Martinsville. We'll see you next Sunday from Atlanta.
We won't quit, I guarantee that. This team will not lay down. All right, go, 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 go. Spin it, go high, go low, yellow's out. Hit, go high, stay in the gap.
Johnson's always wanted to get back to victory lane. Johnson wins here at Martinsville.